All right. All right. What's up, beautiful people? We are live right out the gate with
Big
live right out the
Steve.
gate with
Big
and you already know this is the hottest up and coming hobbyist breeder and best breeder of nannochromis transvestitus in the world, Big Steve. We're honored to have you here, Steve. How you feeling today?
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me. I was excited when you asked.
Okay.
So,
So, I seen you you were on Mexicali stream recently. Did you happen to catch the conversation the other night with Beto about about going? Beto was scared to be interviewed. So, what was your experience seeing the fish Podfather Mexicali? What was that like?
the Podfather? No, I mean, I was nervous. I'm not gonna say I wasn't. I was definitely nervous, but I mean, he's easy to talk to. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. You're gonna be nervous up until the point, but then once you start, it's not as bad as you think it's gonna be. It's just getting over that hump, push and start. But other than that, I mean, yeah, he's easy to talk to.
Yeah. So you're running the streaming circuit. Like, what do you feel like? You've been in the chats and stuff. How do you feel it's been like talking more on the screen? Like, what are you getting out of it that's different?
Um, Nothing really. I don't know. It does kind of feel good to be more involved. I can say what I want in the chat, but it's kind of nice to just be up and front and center.
Yeah, and also then now everyone can send you their questions, and if you don't answer, they know that you're just intentionally like, come on, not, the chat's not moving that fast. I see Dwarsa Clidia already is in the chat saying, "Big Steve, please help me breed my Taeniacara Candidi." So that's one of the fun things that'll be about this stream is I think we're probably gonna go through a lot of different topics related to breeding, but I feel like you're gonna get a lot of questions, especially since I put that master plumber in the title. You know what I mean? You might get some toilet questions or something. I don't know.
No, we're not talking about doo doo. We're not.
Okay, a shower, showers.
Yeah, yeah, we can talk about showers, but yeah,
Okay,
no clogged
okay.
pipe.
We're setting up ground rules here for the questions. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you've been setting up a lot of tanks though. Before we kind of hop into things, what's kind of the status of the fish room? What are you getting into?
So really, the biggest move recently has been this office. So like, this used to be just bedrooms up here, and they don't get used anymore. So I turned this into basically my little office, and so I'm setting up some tanks in here. I got a little 10-gallon shrimp tank, and then I set up a.
Nice.
Come on, Roxy, get down. I'm sorry, my dog.
You're good.
I want to talk to her. Go.
You're not the only one that's excited to be on streams more often. Let's go. So, what's up, George? Cyclidia in the flesh. Jody, how's it going? Cheryl, I see you. Fathom. Gia, Fathom said, "Hey, look, it's Steve." Yes, it is. So you're setting up this office. What's the
Yeah.
approach?
So basically, you know, this is just gonna kind of be like I think stuff to look at. Like pretty tanks really is the long term goal. I got these shrimp and the pea puffers up here, kind of breeding, trying to make more of those. But I picked up that 125 the other day, and I really think that the goal is to put that 125. I've got a 7-foot wall right behind me, and I could put that 125 right there, and I think it would fit real good. So I think that's probably the plan. Is I'm gonna let that reef tank kind of do its thing, and then I think the 125 is probably gonna turn into another saltwater tank. So I got room for these
Oh,
cuttlefish.
okay. So yeah, you're going into saltwater. It's crazy because you just started saltwater, and now I see you're talking about having some cuttlefish. Like, how did you jump in that far? How do you even find that you can buy baby cuttlefish like as your first saltwater project?
Well, it was honestly, I kind of stole the idea. Honestly, it was probably 2 years ago in one of Gina's streams. She used to stream with Danny, and he was always talking about getting cuttlefish, and he was talking about how you could get eggs. So then I started looking online because I never knew that was a thing, and um, you can buy them, but they were always out of stock. And every time they would come in stock, they would be out of stock before I could buy them. And I was just having to be placing an order, and they were in stock, so I was already paying for shipping. And I'm like,
Mm.
all right, we'll see what happens. And I definitely didn't expect for 15 of them to hatch. Like, I didn't know how many I would get. It just had a cluster of eggs, so I had no
Wow.
idea what I was going to get.
You can't tell
And
like
then when
visually like what do the eggs kind of look like?
they were black, they look like grapes, really, like black grapes. It's pretty much exactly. It
Okay.
was just a cluster of, yeah, black
Wow.
grapes looking things, and every one of them hatched. So
Wow. So you said you have 15?
yeah,
That's crazy. Wait, back up though. Where do you buy cuttlefish eggs? Like, is this just a common saltwater website thing,
yeah,
or
they're fair. They're not too. I mean, I got them from saltwater, saltwaterfish.com or something like that. One of the basic, super generic websites.
okay,
They were doing a special where it was like if you buy $99 worth of stuff, it was free shipping.
okay.
So
So how much is
it
the
was like
15 cuttlefish worth of eggs? How much was that?
$60.
That seems like really affordable for
That's
what
what
I
I,
was
that's
expecting.
what I mean. I was already. The whole reason I was placing the order was to get a fish that was $60. So I needed to spend another 40 to get the free shipping, and they were 60. So I said, let's just do it and see what happens.
Wow, wow. By the way, hello everyone coming in. What's up? Diana, how's it going? Dwarfs of Calidia says buying a mystery cuttlefish egg cluster is crazy. TBH, I love it. Yeah, that's wild. I put a picture on the screen too. They actually do look exactly like grapes as you described.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, they really do. It's like salt. I just kept calling them my salty grapes, but
okay,
it
if
was
you
pretty neat too because you could see through the eggs and you could see the little cuttlefish inside the eggs. Like you could see them inside of there. It's pretty neat.
wow. So, what would it cost to just buy cuttlefish not in eggs? Like, is that a thing, or you just have to get them in
Yeah.
eggs?
No, so you can get there's a couple different species that you can get, but the most common is called the flamboyant cuttlefish, which is really, really cool looking. And I was kind of obviously I was hoping that's what these are, but I'm pretty sure they're not.
Okay. So you don't know what species they
They're
are.
no, it literally just said sepia SP. So
You're
after I got
wild.
them in, I emailed the girl back and I said, do you have any idea? Like, I'm not going to hold you to it, but do you have any idea, like, of previous batches, what they turned out being? And she said most of them turned out to be common cuttlefish. So when I looked those up, I hope that's not what they are because they get big.
I
But
was about to say, what if they get like a foot long? You just deal with a random cuttlefish.
yeah,
Oh
they
god,
might
it
get like
says.
16.
Oh my god, yeah, it says they get like 16, 19 inches. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah, and they can stay in groups too. They're not like octopus. They're more like squid, where they like hang out in groups and like hunt in packs and stuff. So
Okay.
it wouldn't be unheard of to keep four or five or six of them together. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
So are you
I
taking
know
your? Go ahead.
there's no way I'd be able to keep 15 of them. So
All right.
I think you're probably going to see some pop up at House of Tropicals here pretty soon.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense to me. That's a good place to take them. So, are you taking your breeding talents to saltwater, or saltwater just display only? I just want some cuttlefish. Like what's going on?
I definitely would like to. I don't plan on doing like frag tanks and all that stuff. Like some of these guys get way crazy with the frag tanks. Um, but just for fun, like I got Banggai cardinals, and I know they're a fairly easy saltwater fish to breed. They're a mouth brooder, so I mean, I
Okay.
think that'd be pretty cool if I could breed that. That'd be, I feel like that'd be an accomplishment.
Has it been difficult doing freshwater to salt? Like, I think you're like me. You haven't been keeping fish for a very, very long time. So, like, I'm scared to do saltwater. How's that been?
No, I've done saltwater before,
Okay.
and it's really not hard. If you're doing just fish, It's literally no different than a freshwater tank, except you add salt. You can put a hang on back, you can put a sponge filter, you can like people just get scared because they see salt water and they think it's expensive. But if you're doing fish only, it's really not. It's almost identical. There's no difference. You know, it's almost even easier because the salt has all of everything you need. It has your DKH, your GH, like it has all your pH comes already in your salt. Like I mean, I don't know. It's almost a little easier, and I almost feel like the fish are a little hardier. Like the
Okay.
fish, saltwater fish, I guess because most of them are wild caught, which you would think would make them a little weak, but I think it's one of those like survival of the fittest type things that those are like the wildest genes that are the strongest
Uh,
fish, you know?
yeah, yeah.
I've definitely lost probably 5 years ago now. When I first got into it, I started a saltwater and a freshwater tank side by side,
Okay.
and I swear to God, I lost more freshwater fish than I did saltwater.
That's interesting. That
Yeah,
does make you think. That does make you think. Do you have an RO unit and stuff for it and
and
everything?
that's where I found out about Dr. Tim's bacteria.
Dr. Tim got your take right.
Yeah, he got me right.
You should ask him for a loan or something. Borrow $20.
You should have sent it to me for free, you son of a bitch.
Hey, so, yo, hashtag 7911. That's the account. Let's go. That's my new thing. So the deposit to ending in 7911. Every time I think about getting the bread, that's my motto. The
There it is.
7911. Let's go.
There it is.
So do you have a RO system and stuff for salt water? Or I know some people say you can actually do it without one.
Yeah, so I guess that is kind of one thing that I should back up on because I already do RO water because I'm on a well, and I so when I even on my fresh water I do RO because I have iron in my water. So I already had all that set up, so it is literally just adding salt to the water. So
Okay.
yeah, for somebody that's not doing RO water, again, now for fish you probably don't need to do RO. You know, you may battle some algae here and there or something because you're letting some weird things get through. But I mean, if you were doing a Fowler, I really don't think. I mean, unless you got some weird, I don't know. If you got pretty average water, I think you'd probably be all right. I've never tried it, but I think you'd
So
probably be all right.
the thing is, I feel like most people when they're getting into saltwater, I mean the fish are cool too, but at least for a lot of the freshwater people I talk to, the coral is a big attraction. So I'm kind of reading through the lines that it's the coral that complicate things more than the fish.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
100%. Yeah. And there's different levels of that. So you got your like softies slash LPS, and then like your what is it, SPS, which are like your branches, when you see the ones that look like, antlers or whatever, trees and stuff, as opposed to the soft ones that you see moving in the water, so the softies are a lot easier and more forgiving, whereas the SPS, you got to have a stable system.
Mm.
And you're talking about like calcium reactors and all kinds of craziness that I'm not going to mess with.
Yeah, I'm not. You said the word calcium reactor. I felt like I need like a hazmat suit or something. What's going on?
Honestly, I'm sure it's probably a really simple system, but it sounds complicated, so I don't want to mess with it.
Yeah.
Um, I see some of these guys' systems, and they've just got, $2,000 worth of Apex gear set up with all these different sensors and monitors, and they're constantly, and then they're dosing all this Kalkwasser and all this stuff, and it's like, man, I'm just not going to do all that.
Mm.
I'm going to change water, and that's going to be about this protein
Yeah.
skimmer.
Well, that's one
That's
thing that
about.
Beto was asking is he said I guess the hassle might just be adding salt back for water changes. No.
Yeah, so basically, as your top ups, you're just doing your fresh water for your top ups, but then on your salt water, you're just mixing it up. And it's pretty simple. You figure out like whatever salt you're using, there's a ratio. So for me, it's 2.5 cups of salt for a 5-gallon bucket. It's a half a cup per gallon. So you pretty much you fill up your bucket, you pour 2.5 cups in, you put a pump in there, and then you come back 30 minutes later, it's clear, you pour it in the tank.
Right.
I
It's
mean, you
not too
check it
bad.
first. It's always right. I always check it, but it's always right. I've maybe
Mm.
once or twice if I had to add a little bit more or add some more water just to thin it down a little bit, but they're pretty it's pretty simple once you figure it out. Once you get a system down. It's really not tricky.
Yeah. Well, speaking of systems, one of the things I want to talk to you about, being a master plumber, I feel like you gotta have a lot of things you think about where people are like building fish rooms and you're like, technically if people just did this, it really wouldn't be hard and blah blah. Like, what are some of the things we're all like missing through the cracks that we could be doing to make our lives easier if we just, went to the hardware store or hired a master plumber for a day?
I mean, the biggest one is, I guess, really, and that's what I was talking to you about, is the mixed water for your water changes. If you want to do cold water, if you want to match your water temperature, if you're worried about putting cold water, if you're doing a 75% water change and you want to try to match the water temp, basically, you install a shower valve wherever, in your basement, next to your water heater, wherever, and you have your hot and your cold, and you put a temperature gauge on the outgoing, basically the shower head pipe, and you just mix the water with the handle like you're taking a shower.
Okay.
Um, it's really not hard. People with the CPVC pipe and shark bite fittings, it's real. Anybody can do it.
Okay.
I guess maybe not anybody, but you know, because I don't want somebody to flood their house. You know what I mean? I don't want somebody to be overconfident and flood their house. But if you pay attention to what you're doing, you watch literally 2 videos. It's not hard. You cut the pipe and glue it together. You know what I mean? It's not rocket
Yeah.
science, and it's just knowing the names of the fittings and knowing which fittings are which. So you say, oh, I need a 90 or a 45 or a coupling, and being able to go find it as opposed to like going to the guy at Home Depot and says, I need 3 of these, and show him a picture. He gives you the wrong thing because he didn't look at what size you wanted and stuff. That's just identifying your fittings and
Yeah.
knowing how to just gluing them together. That's
Well,
all.
that's the hardest part for me. Even the simplest stuff, it's like knowing the right fitting, like internal diameter and the outside diameter and stuff. I think that's like the basic level that I'm just starting to overcome.
And so with fittings, you got two options. It's either a socket or street. And socket is basically like your female, so the pipe goes in, or you have street, which is basically like your male side, and that goes inside of a fitting. It's the same size as pipe.
Okay.
So you either have a socket end or a street end.
And this is
And
for
if you
all
want
pipes.
all pipes,
Okay.
yeah, it
So
doesn't really matter what kind, if it was plastic, metal, any of it. It doesn't really matter. Copper, you have either socket or street, and 90% of the time you're going to use socket because you're not streets are more expensive, and you don't usually need them unless it's a space problem.
okay.
Um, and then the other thing too is buying good tools. So like if you were doing copper, go spend the $40 on the real copper, like a rigid copper cutters, as opposed to the $12 pair they have sitting in the aisle. Or if you're doing PVC and you want the ratchet cutters, spend the $30 or $40 on the better pair of ratchet cutters rather than buying the cheapest pair that they have because you're like, I'm only going to use them once.
Mm,
No, you're not going to only use them once, and you're going
mm.
to hate them the entire time you have them.
Okay. So hold up. So what when you walk into what's the cheap PVC or whatever cutter? Like, how can you tell like that's not the one to get? Like, is it just price or?
Yeah, but I mean, if it's like Home Depot brands, with plumbing, Rigid and Milwaukee are pretty much your premium brands. So any of those tools you're pretty safe with.
Okay.
But just don't buy the cheapest one. It doesn't have to be the cutters. Lennox. There's a ton of different brands that make a good one. It's just people are always, I do it too. You could grab the cheapest thing because you don't. Why spend $40 when I can spend 13?
Yeah.
But the 13 ones are going to cut crooked, and then something's going to leak, or it's going to snap halfway through one of your cuts, and you're going to have to go get another blade, or
Oh God.
just buy a decent tool, and you'll have it next time you need it.
So let's say, okay, I want to try and do this water mixer situation. What are the tools that I'm gonna need? Like not even like get into the materials and fittings, just like what are the tools that I will need?
Probably copper cutters, probably CPVC cutters, tubing cutters, and a hammer, tape measure. It's probably about it. Some wrenches to tighten up your adapters, some channel
Okay.
locks or crescent wrenches to tighten up your adapters.
Okay.
Um, it's really basic.
So
You'll
I'm gonna
see.
have to do
We're gonna
copper for this. It's definitely a copper job. Okay.
we can do copper. So copper does kind of change things because then you're introducing soldering, which is definitely a little more tricky for the
Okay.
average
Well,
person. I mean,
that's what I'm asking. Like, do you have to do copper? Can you just do CV whatever
nah,
CPVC?
you can do CPVC, you can do PEX, you can transition basically. You just figure out where your tie-in point is. Okay, we got hot and cold water here. So we're going to tie in there, and then we're going to transition from whatever you have to whatever we want, and then we'll run from there to,
Hmm.
PEX or CPVC or whatever it is.
Do you need like one of those? I've seen them like bending pipes and stuff. Is that something you might need for this, or is that just a copper thing?
Yeah, nah, you don't really bend anything.
Okay.
Nah. You only bend stuff under sinks and stuff like, yeah, that wouldn't apply.
Okay, that wouldn't apply. Now, outside in said, I love my drain sump. Friggin' hate buckets. I feel like that's one thing. Like something a little simpler is okay. I want to water change, make my water changes easier. I guess if you're in a basement, like draining to the sump.
So I kind of got mixed feelings about that. I don't really like putting tank water into my sump. I would rather put it into a sewer pipe because you're sucking up moss and leaves and
Yeah.
rocks and sand, and then that's going to get into your pump, and it's going to either your impeller's going to snap a fin or it's going to get jammed up. I mean, I don't know how you vacuum, but when I vacuum, I'm sucking up all kinds of subwasser and alder cones. It's all going down the tank. So, I wouldn't want to put that in my sump pit. I
Yeah.
would tie that into my sewer line, but don't say that out loud because you're not supposed to do that.
Okay. Never mind. I forget my next question. I am draining into my sump right now. I do my best not to suck anything up, but I mean, shit is inevitably gonna happen. You know.
Yeah, and I do it in my basement on the two tanks I have in my basement, just because I'm not going to carry buckets up the stairs, and I'm just more careful on those. But it's definitely something to keep in mind. If you are draining into a sump pump, you don't want all that crap in there because it definitely will cause issues.
Mm. Outside it says I use a tub with an aquarium pump and drain into a sink. I don't gravel vac, so that is the difference. Okay, so it doesn't need gravel vac.
Yeah, I did that for a long time. I just drop a pump in the tank and I would do water changes that way.
Okay. What about
Either one.
these drillless siphon systems? Like you don't drill the tanks, you can still do like the auto water change kind of thing. Like, what do you think of that versus drilling?
I want to play with it. I don't
Okay.
know. I've seen it set up a few times and it seems like magic.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand how it works. Really? I mean, I know you got siphons and water seeks its own level and all that stuff, but how you can get water to go up over the edge of the tank and back down, but only ever maintain that level. Just
Yeah.
yeah. I
I
was
do.
talking to Scotty about. I think that's what he was trying to do for a while, and I was hoping he would do it because I want to see how it works, but I just
Yeah.
never did play with it.
Well, definitely, the hot and cold water mixer seems to be a big thing for a lot of people. But it is kind of scary to cut into any kind of water source into your house. So say someone was already on the edge of doing it, and okay, they've got the tools that you listed. What are the things to keep in mind when you're trying to tie in?
The biggest thing is making sure you know where to turn the water off. So find your main valve for your house, make sure it works. So turn it off, go upstairs, run your faucet, and make sure it stops. Because not half, but 25% of the times those valves don't close all the way. And you cut into you think it's off, and then you cut into your system, and now you're trying to make your connection, but water's still running, and now that valve won't close, and now you got an emergency. So your biggest thing is just making sure your valve works. As long as that first valve works, you can only do so much damage. I mean, from there, as long as you can turn the water off, it's minimal, really. You
Yeah.
can pretty much fix anything after that point. But if
Right.
you cut into it and that valve won't shut off and you get a flood, then it could get ugly real quick.
That's great. 25% of the time, the valve may not close all the way. That
And I mean, it's even worse. Like it depends how old the building is. If like we got some schools we work in, and I mean, none of them work. You
mm.
can't even turn the handle. You gotta, the handles just don't even turn. Or if the handle turns, it feels like there's grit and sand inside, and it doesn't close all the way.
uh,
Houses on wells, their valves are usually a little worse than houses on city water. But then I'm only talking about city water around here. I have no idea what city water in Utah is like. I mean, they could have really hard water that eats up their valves. That's the big thing. It's is the age and your water quality.
yeah. Um, Beto says you can have flooding if you don't have several backups, and then CamJen said it's only easy for Steve. This is way more serious for us idiots. Well, I mean, I get what you're saying. If the water's off, once you cut into it, if the water's staying off, you have a chance to remedy the situation. Like
I mean, if you were scared, fill a couple buckets so you can flush your toilets, and call a plumber in the morning or something. You know what I mean? It's not, as long as you can flush your toilets, you can make it through the night. Call me
yeah,
tomorrow and we'll figure. Like, I don't know. If you watch a couple videos, shark bite fittings is for years and years and years. I used to say, no way, no way, I'm not doing it, and I still wouldn't do it as a like if I was working for somebody, I wouldn't put them in their house. But I got shark bites in my house, and
mm-hmm.
so that eliminates. You can work with copper, you can work with CPVC, you can work with PEX, and it fits all of them. So it
Wait.
doesn't
So
really matter.
wait, this is big for me. So shark bite fitting. What is this, and how does this make my life easier?
So shark bite eliminates having to solder. It's just a push-on fitting, like the little like quarter-inch push plastic push fittings.
Yeah.
It's like that but bigger and bright, made out of brass. The problem with it is it's expensive.
Okay.
Where if you were to get shark bite tees to cut in your tie-in points, they're probably 15 or 20 bucks a piece as opposed to maybe $5 a piece. And then your
Yeah.
90s to run over, you probably $10 a piece as opposed to $2 a piece. So it adds up really fast.
Yeah.
It does add up. But for the people that aren't comfortable with doing it, it's cheaper than hiring a plumber for sure.
Okay.
Like
Well,
you could go buy a couple.
that's the other good question. When is it more worth it just to hire a plumber? Because I feel like one of the things with that kind of work is it's hard to know how much it's going to cost exactly, and you got to get an estimate and all that. So it's hard to make that decision.
And for the most part, if you call around to all your local plumbers and say, "Do you do free estimates?" 50% will say yes because they want your work. Just have them come out and give you an estimate. You know,
Okay.
um, you have, I guess, they might hound you or pester you for a little while, but I mean, you really have nothing to lose by getting a free estimate.
Okay.
Um, Hold on, what was your other question?
I was just like, how much? When do you know that's worth it just to hire a plumber? Like let's say
Yeah,
the water mixing thing. Like, how much would it be to get someone to install something like that around like a range?
well, I can say, like for our company, ballpark, to come install one in your wall is anywhere from 700 to 1,000.
Yeah.
And that's, includes taking out your old one, putting a new one in, all new trim and everything.
The part you don't have to go buy the parts and stuff, and
Yeah, that's us supplying everything.
yeah, that's not
So,
too bad.
if you were to go buy the parts, you probably have $250 worth of parts by the time you bought the parts and tools, maybe 300. So, I mean, there's definitely some savings there, but yeah, it's not the end of the world. There's a big difference in plumbers though, and what they charge. I hear it all the time. I'll give somebody a price and it might be $1,000 and they're like, man, so and so quoted me $4,500 to do that. I'm like,
Mm, yeah,
I don't know.
very
I don't,
very
it,
variable. Right.
yeah, man, the rates can change. They vary so greatly. It's like there's just no rhyme or reason to it. So, just definitely don't be afraid to ask for free estimates. For sure. If they don't want to do it, they'll just say no. Or they'll say it's $59 to come out and then just say no thanks. But definitely take them up on it. That's if they offer it, let them
Yeah.
come out and give you a price.
So, what are some things? Because you already mentioned like, oh, city water versus well water, just with the lever. Like, what are some things with your system, whether it's the heater or whatnot, that might be complications or things to consider when going about this?
Um, City water is pretty much better all the way around. Well water in general is just pretty harsh. I mean, it's different everywhere you are, obviously, but around here, it's pretty harsh. Now, granted, I guess maybe that's why all the saltwater fish like my water, because I'm
Right.
on a well and I have soft water. It's acidic. Um, so it's probably good for breeding fish, but plumbing pipes and fittings don't like it.
Okay. So, what does that? What is that? If you know that you have that kind of water, what should you keep in mind when doing materials?
Hey, try to avoid copper at all costs.
Okay.
So copper is probably at least on well water. So around here, if you call me and say you have pinholes in your copper pipes, and I can say almost 90% of the times because they're on a well. The well
Wow.
water just eats holes in the pipes. And
Wow.
then their water heater's the same thing. Oh, my water heater's only 6 years old and it's leaking. Why is it leaking? Because your well water ate it up.
Mm. So is because I've heard that too. Like once you introduce like warming water up, like that can change the makeup of your water. Like, is there something to consider with that? Like, any like metals or something coming from your heated up water that's different?
I don't know about that.
Okay. Okay.
You're
No
getting
problem.
that's starting to get into the chemistry side of it.
No, 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 no. You're good. I'm trying to see how much information I can get out of you.
Yeah, no, I know.
I didn't
Like,
know about, but I didn't know that the water could eat through the pipes like that. That's like the opposite of what the pipes are supposed to do.
well, yeah, I mean that's like so with RO water, you don't want to put RO water like through your whole house because the water is so pure that it actually starts pulling minerals out of the pipe.
No.
It starts leaching stuff out of the pipe and it just makes over 10, 20, 30 years, it just gets thinner and thinner and thinner. And that's where the pinholes start popping up. You get the little green spot and then, it gets crusty and then 6 months later it's a wet spot on the floor.
Okay, so CPVC could be a safe option for a lot of people.
Yeah. If you're on a well or any in general, CPVC or PEX. PEX is honestly probably my go-to
Okay.
because CPVC can get brittle, especially on hot. So the hot lines after I don't know 5 or 7 years, it gets pretty brittle to where if you were to smack it, it could crack. Um,
Hmm.
so like if it's in the wall or something where it's protected, it's fine. But if it was somewhere where you're working around, and hanging stuff like people are famous. I go in their basement, they hang stuff from their pipes, because you got
Yep.
pipes going across your ceiling, and they got shirts and jackets and all kinds of stuff hanging from it. I'm like, bro, that CPVC pipe is brittle, man. You really need to take that stuff off of there.
Damn. Okay. Can you do that at least on the metal pipes too? I've definitely seen that the metal pipes.
Yeah,
Okay.
copper or steel gas lines, like that stuff will take it. They're pretty tough, but yeah, don't hang stuff on your plastic pipes.
That's a good PSA. Well, I want to ask you about fish. I don't want to, but I do have just like one or two more plumbing related questions, and this one is pressure because when I'm going and I'm looking at fittings and stuff, that's another thing I see is like pressure gauges or I see PSI recommendations on like hoses and stuff. Like, is there anything to keep in mind with pressure?
Not really. Pretty much everything that's sold to be on your plumbing system is designed to withstand normal like operating pressures. But like just as a rule of thumb, your pressure inside your house really shouldn't be over like 70 psi. So if you do have pressures, like if your house is getting up like 90 to 100, you should probably look into changing or adjusting your pressure reducing valve, but or finding if you have one. But um, pretty much everything is going to
Okay.
withstand. I mean, unless you're buying, don't use aquarium tubing on your plumbing system. Use
Okay.
a proper connector. You
Okay.
know, and
Don't
if you're
use a
using
garden
hose,
hose.
yeah, I mean, I'll tell you that's sketch. That's one thing that sketches me out. Like people leave their garden hoses charged. Like they'll leave their valve on with their the spray nozzle on the end, and it's just charged like all summer long. And if that hose pops, your water bill or your well is going to go dry. Like
Oh God.
if that garden hose, because the garden hose, when you run your water in summer, it's like
Yeah.
super hot,
Yeah.
scalding hot, and sitting in the sun in that black hose. Well, that black hose is now 150 degrees, and the water inside is swelled up, so the pressure inside the hose is higher. And I've seen it a few times where their water bills are through the roof because their hose was running for 3 days and they didn't even know it.
Damn. That's that. Yeah. There was one hose I was using that had one of those at the end. Whatever connection here, it was obviously, I was like, okay, this is not going to work. Like, it wasn't good. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm never using this. This is sketchy.
Yeah, always if you're using hoses, just turn it off at the source. Just
Okay.
turn it off at the source to be safe. Never trust the end of the line valve because that rubber hose, unless you got some kind of crazy stainless steel hose,
Okay.
don't
And
trust rubber. Don't trust rubber outside.
what's up, Atkins Aquarium, by the way? Kanjan said that shit happened to my neighbor, ran our well dry.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's a lot of times what happens. They'll call and say we don't have no water, and then we go out and look in their well, and there's no water. I'm like, yeah,
Mm.
it's not because your pump went bad. It's because you got no water. And then
Wow.
you wait 3 or 4 days for the well to fill back up, and then they more likely burned up their pump. So then we got to put a new pump in, and then we go to turn the water on, and we're not building pressure because there's a line blasting wide open in their backyard, and they're like, oh, well,
Mm.
we know why your well went dry.
Damn. By the way, well, shout out Jesse. What's up? He said, "Hey yo, who let this fool on the stream? Yo,
Telling you,
he broke out, man. I don't know what to tell you." Well, that's something interesting. I recently replaced my hose to like just a cheap drinking water hose because the one I was using before, like I was just looking up the different materials and like I don't know. I guess you actually should use a hose that's safe for drinking water. It's not even something I thought about.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's all. That goes back to that whole "this causes cancer in California" bullshit.
Well, I think also the one that I had, like I think the water was like sitting in the hose more, like getting stuck in the hose more. So I think that might have been a thing, but at least it wasn't 125 degrees.
Yeah, stagnant water can be an issue though, but
Yeah. Life lessons by Steve, Cam John said. Well, shit, man. Things that seem complicated, plumbing, but also breeding fish. So I put in the title, the Taeniacara Candidi, because we both had the fish. We're both trying to breed them. Mine of late eggs haven't gotten fried, but you have fried for them. So I just wanted to hear from you. This is like a very uncommon fish that people are probably like, oh my God, like you have babies for the fish. So like tell me about getting them. Like, I want the whole story. Like, how did this happen, and what advice would you
Yeah.
give?
I was thinking about that the other night after I got off of Mexicali stream when he asked me like what was my proudest like accomplishment, and I said figuring out the red lizard whiptails, but I would probably say those were probably my. I kind of forgot about those. They would at least place equal because like you know the story, but I had those fish. I tried them 3 or 4 years ago, and it was actually the first fish I ever paid to have shipped. I bought from the wet spot.
Mm.
And I'll never forget like how excited I was. And I got that box in the mail, like the first time, like seeing fish in the mail, man. Get opening that box that was fun as shit, man.
That's an amazing first mail purchase. Also, like nerve wracking as well.
Yeah, it was. But you know, I didn't really know what I was doing. But the whole thing that got me started was Dean from Co-op. He had did a video about them. They were one of the first fish that he bred, like when he was in college, like in his dorm room or something. And he started showing pictures of them, and I kind of just fell in love with them. I was already kind of into the dwarf cichlids, and then when I found out that they're kind of like a micro cichlid, it was like I gotta have it.
Yeah.
I gotta have it. And you know, I tried doing the dropping the pH and doing soft water back then, but I really didn't know what I was doing. And honestly, this time I didn't really do anything. I just got lucky. I mean, I put them in the tank and I fed them worms and lots of brine shrimp, and I got lucky. I didn't do anything particular. I didn't look for eggs. I didn't save their eggs. I'm sure she had a lot more, and she ate half of them because there's only probably 10 or 12. There was a lot more, but they're starting to get big enough now where you can see the tails and they're getting color. So they're
That's pretty cool.
kind of. But I did lose the male, so hopefully I'll get another male out of this group.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she murked him or I don't know. It was like shortly after they had Fry, he was floating. So
what was like the tanks setup for them? Like, is the 10 a 5?
yeah, 10-gallon tank, rock, lots of moss, and then a coconut hut in the front. And I'm 90% sure they laid the eggs in the coconut hut. I'm 90% sure. I know that one time I saw eggs in the coconut. They glued them to the top of the hut. I'm not sure that that's where this spawn came from because they did eat one other spawn.
Yeah. Okay,
So
so you did have a egg spawn that they ate or whatever before that.
yeah, they
Okay.
didn't. Yeah, they didn't make it or whatever. I
That
saw
makes that
eggs.
makes me feel a little bit better because I've had two. If they do it a third time, I'm gonna be pissed.
Hold on.
I'm so scared of pulling eggs. Do you pull the dwarf cichlid eggs?
I wouldn't pull the eggs. I'd pull the parents.
Ah, interesting. Do you like just put like an air stone on the eggs then?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Well, it depends.
You just leave it.
I,
No, if you just leave it, then
for those guys, I would probably just leave it. I wouldn't do anything.
okay. That's interesting. Pull the parents. I haven't thought about that for the dwarf cichlids. I always feel so bad taking them, but also part of me's like, what if the idiot like kid that's not supposed to survive makes it? And it's my fault because I didn't let the parent eat them. Like they would have seen him like, nah, this one can't go. I gotta take him out, and I'm the one that saved his life. Like,
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
so when, or like in the days approaching the Candidi laying the eggs, did you notice any behaviors, any things people can look out for, or it just kind of took you by surprise?
No, it was completely by surprise. To be honest with you, I thought I had lost the male a long time ago. I didn't even know I had a pair still. The male just was constantly hidden.
Mm.
Every once in a while when I'd feed, he would show up. And it had been a while since I'd seen him, so I kind of thought he was gone. And then I was just sitting on my couch and I looked over and there was a little fish swimming around. I was like, wow, check that out.
Nice. Okay. So
And
what's
then he
the
was out.
so
So
what's the female's behaviors? Does she have a different coloration or anything with the fry going around?
no, I mean she's just got the blue around the I guess the blue on her tail and the black stripe. I mean, just
Yeah.
no. It's actually kind of funny because some of the fry are they're so small. Like the female is small,
Yeah.
so the
It's a
like
really small fish. If people don't know, like this is a cichlid that's like an inch. Like the female's smaller than the male too, so it's like literally like
yeah,
this big.
like, like the female is literally probably about an inch, and the fry are starting to color up, and they're like I don't know, half to 3/4 of an inch. So I'm like,
Wow.
they're almost as big as the female.
Wow. How long has it been?
Uh, I'd be lying if I said, but I would guess maybe 4 months, 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
It's been a while.
That's not too bad though. I mean
They
that's
grow,
cool.
yeah, they did grow pretty fast. I'm
So
sure if I went down there and really looked, I could probably pick a male out. There was definitely some color showing.
okay. So do you like evaluate the parenting skills of different species of those dwarf cichlids? Like, are they all kind of good, or are there ones that you've bred enough times you're like, yo, you guys are the worst parents ever. Like, I can't trust you with anything. So what's up, Oscars?
I would say, as far as bad parents, mm, no, I would say probably the nannochromis are probably the best parents.
Okay.
Um, it's pretty neat watching them,
Yeah.
care for, care for slash protect the fry, and then especially when there's so many other in the tank, like they're just constantly there, and they're just so active.
Yeah.
Where Pistos, they're great parent, they're great parents, but they don't do a whole lot. They might chase you
Yeah.
and then go right back to where they came from.
Yeah.
But like these guys are just constantly darting all over the place, up and down and all around and in the cracks and crevices and
And this is a transvestitus, but like with my Perilius, I'm noticing the same thing. And the females and males work way closer together than like my closest comparison is like the crebensis. The crebensis are pretty good parents, but like the male and female, the Perilius, I don't know if the transvestites are the same, but they're always right on top of the fry together, and they really like they keep the
it's like
fry
a
directly under them.
yeah, it's like a swarm. It's like and it's cool. Like it's almost like birds. Like they all go like like a
Yeah,
flock of birds.
yeah,
It's definitely different compared to like regular Pisto, where it's just kind of like a cloud all over the place. Like these guys are
yeah.
not.
Like,
It's
and also, I don't know if you noticed with the Epistos, for me, it seems like one parent usually takes on for the Epistos. Like, it seems like one will usually start chasing off the other one at some point. Where I haven't seen that with the Nannochromis so far, but is that something you've noticed, or is that just every now and then?
no, I think you're probably spot on with that. I mean, typically with my Pistos, the female probably pretty much takes over and runs a male off,
Yeah,
whereas the Nannochromis are doing it as a team. They're working
yeah.
together.
So you breed a lot of a lot of these dwarf cycles in a 10 gallon. So what are the
Oh,
less all of them? So what are the lessons you've learned in that tank size? Just for anyone that's like, okay, I want to breed, let's say a Pistos is probably one of the most popular ones at a 10 gallon. Everyone says you can do that, but what are the considerations that maybe people miss?
um, don't put anything else in there. You know, if you say I got my Pistos in a 10 with a coconut hut, but they won't breed, well, what's in there? Six Corys, three um, whatevers, and something else, and a Pleco. Well,
Right.
I mean, yes, they all fit in there, and it's not really overcrowded or overstocked, but there's a lot going on, and I just don't think maybe like a Pisto cockatoides where they kind of just would probably breed in your fish tank or in your toilet bowl, but some of these they're just not going to do it with other fish in the tank. So if you're
Yeah.
gonna 10 gallons, I mean I've done some in fives, but um, they just need to be by themselves. Just don't put anything else in there. Give them if you're gonna put
Okay.
them in a small tank, give them the tank,
So
give
this
them
is
the whole
this
tank.
is this is the hard truth. A lot of people, including myself, need to hear. Although I've kind of learned this lesson I've told you about the other day the hard way, where my female pistol killed some stuff when I wasn't home. I had some like little tetras in there and it started a chain reaction. But okay, put them in there by yourself. That I think that's gonna be that's definitely hard. It's hard not to just put like a pair or something in there. Like, is there anything like a killifish you put in there? Anything that you would put in there? You're like, just look. If you're gonna do it right. Just put the pair by themselves in the tin.
Um, no, you probably could get away with a small killie, like if you wanted to do like maybe gold australis or maybe like gardener eyes or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
So
not gonna fit a I mean,
yeah.
but they swim a lot, so yeah.
Well, I mean, here's another way of looking at it. It's like a lot of times they say you can do X Y Z, but you need the line of sight breaks or whatever. So you're in a 10 gallon though. Have you noticed you put? I've seen your tanks. You got a lot of moss and stuff in there. What are the
Yeah.
limit? What are the limitations? Like, does that stop a female from killing a male in a 10 gallon? Like, what do you got to do to make that work?
Yeah, I mean that I think that definitely is a large part of it is I'm big on some wasser tang and moss, and pretty much all my tanks are probably halfway full of Subwasser tank. Just there's a big pile somewhere in pretty much every tank, and that just gives them a guaranteed place to get away. You know, I can hide behind it, I can sit in the middle of it, and they disappear. You know, it's like a cornfield. It's like running into a cornfield. They just disappear. Soon
Right,
one row in, it's gone. So
right.
you know, definitely heavily planted for sure. You know, the more crap the better. You know,
Okay,
I don't think you can have too many plants and logs and rocks and like just give them lots of and it gives them more options. If they don't like the hut, then they got rock piles. They can make something. They you know can spawn in underneath that pile of moss or something. It just gives them more opportunities.
have you seen like what with your dwarf cichlids? Like, do they do that a lot for you? Like spawn under the moss or under rocks? What are the different places you've seen?
Definitely in the rock piles. I've started doing so that was one thing I did about a year ago. I took like baseball sized rocks and put rock piles right in the middle of each 10-gallon tank. So I was really trying to keep shrimp in with them, but that didn't
No.
work. But it did end up helping with the breeding because a few of the apistos I didn't even have caves. I didn't have coconut huts or anything, and they made something somewhere.
Right, under
You
the rock
know,
piles.
all of a sudden they got babies anyway.
That's pretty
So
cool. Do you? This is one thing I always am like struggling when I got some dwarf cichlids and I'm trying to see what's going on is ones that will move the wigglers and stuff around a lot. What have you learned about fry and they're not staying in one place so you can tell if they've eaten them or if they've just been moved?
it scares the hell out of me. Like if I see her starting to pick them up and move them, I might pull her out of there.
Really?
I don't know. They're fine on the ground. You leave them there. I don't want them in your mouth. I don't trust you to not.
Have you found that all the cichlids you bred so far move them around or are some more prone to it?
The worst ones I've had do it is the electric blue acaras.
Really?
Like they'll have 400 babies in the corner, and then you come back like an hour later, and it's like nothing ever happened, and you think they ate them, and then tomorrow you find them in the back corner behind the sponge filter, and you're like, oh, okay. You know, they really move them around. I really haven't had that problem with the pistos or any of the smaller ones. Really, it's mostly those guys and the
No.
angelfish. Angelfish did that to me one
Okay.
time.
Electric blue car is a good one because that seems to be low key a super popular fish. I mean, multiple people seem to kind of breed them in this area, but stores seem to still take them for store credit pretty regularly. Like,
I don't understand it. That's one of the fish that I don't understand. Why are they
it's
worth
your
so much money?
profile picture. It's your profile picture. What do you mean you don't
Yeah,
understand?
because I made a killing off of them. I mean, they when they breed, I mean, you're getting like 300 of them, and they're paying you $10 a piece store credit. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you can't even get that much for a pistos. that are way cooler and more valuable than an electric blue car. I mean, they're way harder to breed. Electric blue cars breed so easy. I just don't understand how they hold their value.
Okay. It could just be a supply demand thing, like we talked about that with CPDs. Like maybe it's the blue fish curse that they just die on some people a lot.
Could be. I mean, I feel like they're pretty hardy, but yeah, it's possible.
Well, hey,
That's,
if you want to make a killing off of breeding electric blue cars, like what was that experience like? 'Cause I feel like that's one that not a lot of people come to their mind. You think of the Epistos and all this stuff, but like that's kind of a, I guess they get a little bit bigger, but it's still manageable. What was that?
you better have some grow out room.
Mm.
That's for sure. When you got 300, 200 or 300 little cichlids, and they eat fast and they grow fast, so you keep stepping them up, and you're like, okay, they're in. I moved them into a 5, and now I'm moving them into a 10, and now I'm into a 20, now I'm into a 40. Crap, I'm
Mm.
gonna need a 75 here soon. Like it, they
Damn. Wait, so the survival is that high on? Because again, I haven't bred those. Maybe it's just because they're bigger fish, but like, say I've just bred a pistos, like it's the difference in size. I'm gonna be like, what the hell is going on? Like, guaranteed.
oh, you when you breed a pisto and you're getting 20 or 30 babies, that I mean, EBAs are. I'm not even exaggerating, 200 or 300 probably. I mean, that's not, and they do have pretty good survival. And now, I mean, a lot of times I'll pull the babies because the parents will
Mm.
end up eating them. But if you pull those once they're free swimming, they survive. They're pretty tough. They're eating brine shrimp, baby brine shrimp right off the bat. And any fish for me that because I hatch brine shrimp every day, so any fish that's eating brine shrimp, I can keep it. I'm good. Like
Mm.
survival rate's pretty high.
Okay. Well, yeah. Maven said my EBAs moved their spawn a billion times. I thought they were dead until they became free swimming. And then Mel asked, "Good point, Big Steve. What's the difference between them and angels? And how is there so many more color options with angels yet you're getting more for EBA? WTF?"
I feel yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, angels are kind of overpriced too. Really, I mean, they breed pretty easy, and they have 500 of them every time they do it. I mean, it's not like when you go to a pet store and you see angelfish, they're still 15 or 20 bucks a piece.
So what was your experience breeding angelfish versus some of these other
I
ones?
actually never really had luck doing it. I
Really?
never made any. I never brought in. I never raised any up to grow out. They ended up either eating them or somebody else ate them. I had one pair that spawned over every 30 days, man. They would spawn, and I would try to do the eggs, and the eggs would fungus over. Then
Mm.
I cleared the tank out, and then I could get the tank to there. I could get them to wigglers, but then they would die. So then I would try to put the parents back in, leave the parents with them, but then the parents would eat them. And then
Mm.
one day, one of the logs fell over and squashed the male. And
Damn! Oh my goodness! It'd be the stupidest things. Like how
It
does
was the same, freaking piece of driftwood literally had just fallen over and he was stuck underneath of it. I'm like, really, dude? You couldn't have moved?
that's the slowest reaction time. Greg, you're messed up. He said timber, timber. Oh my
For
god.
real.
It's, smart person said the New York area clubs are practically drowning in angels. Koi angels will often go for $2 to $3 at each auction.
It's weird. It is weird when you go, at least that's the same way with the clubs that we go to. I mean, and the Angels don't bring anything at the clubs, but I mean, in the stores, they're never five
Yeah.
dollars in the stores.
Club people, I think it's tank size. I think it's, you probably already have them after one or two auctions.
Yeah.
even like the ones that I feel like should be fancier don't usually go too crazy. It's got to be a real nice angel for people to bid on it, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I guess that's the thing. Like the breeding conversations always come down to like how much the fish you're breeding is worth. Like no matter what, that always has to be a consideration. Like, how is the value of fish play into your breeding of them, and what have you
For
learned through
sure.
that?
That, I mean, if it's not, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. Well, I say that. No, I mean, I want to make some money off of it. You know what I mean? I want. That's my play money. That's my fish money. What I sell is what I'm putting back into it. You know, so if I'm selling worthless fish, then I can't buy stuff. I mean, it's got to be worth something. That being said, I am trying to do the pea puffers, and they're pretty much worthless.
Yeah.
You know, they're although I think that's one of the few fish that you could sell at a club, and it would make you would get more than retail value,
Yeah.
spe- especially being that they're homebred. But I mean, it's still a $5 fish is not.
Yeah.
That's you're not going to get very far with a $5 fish.
What is like when you're like, okay, this is a moneymaker, then you did it, and then you're like, oh, this was a mistake. Now, what do I do with these fish? Like stuff for people to avoid. You think it's gonna work out, but it's actually not worth it.
I mean, probably the electric blue cars, really. Just because you flood everybody, and you get to a certain point where you've taken them to this store, that store, this store, and that store. You flooded the meetings, and now I still got a tank full of fish that I don't know what to do with. It got to that point where I had literally flooded everything, and I had one batch growing out, and I put them in a 75 in my basement with an auto feeder, and I came back, checked on them like 3 or 4 days later, and the whole tank went bad.
Damn. So that's like
So
you gotta pace yourself like with how many fish you make, kind of a thing.
yeah, for sure. At least with that kind of fish. I mean, I think with the apistos and stuff, man, just breed as many as you can because some store will take them. But yeah, with those large brood or large bats, whatever you call them, cichlids, I would say you definitely
Yeah.
need to pay attention. You don't need to hatch every single batch. That's for sure.
Okay. Yeah, Greg Guppy guy said I can't make enough angels to keep my LFS stocked. Oh wow, okay. They're going like crazy,
What
huh?
kind of what kind of angels are you making, Greg?
What kind of angels you got? Diana said I'm gonna buy 3 pea puffers tomorrow. Can't wait. Oh, that's exciting. Hope you enjoy that.
Yeah, pea puffers are cool. They really are.
Palm Puppy says I have over 1,000 wild type guppies and can't give away. I mean, that's a lot. A lot of damn. What kind of wild type? Like, are they hideous? Because don't you have turtles? I feel like that's a solution to that problem.
Yeah. I mean, probably got some cuttlefish that would like to meet your guppies.
That's great. Okay, let's go. Greg Guppy guy said blue zebra starfire mostly on the angelfish.
I don't know what a starfire is.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, that sounds fancy, so
Yeah.
it makes sense. I mean, I guess. See, I don't know much about angelfish, but I guess that's probably one of those where you gotta invest in the fancy ones, so you can make sure you can always get rid of them.
I think so. They're still on my list. I would really like to get the redback Manica Perus. Um,
Yeah.
they've been on my list for. I mean, so have Altums, and I've had them twice, and I've lost them both times. But yeah, I mean, I think that they're for sure worth investing in. But they're expensive, and typically when you get them, they're small, so it's going to take some time to get them up, and so
Yeah.
it's an investment for sure.
What
You know, but
are there any like apistos you would say don't bother with, or are all of them basically worth breeding?
yeah, those they're called like gold form Opisthococcatoides. I
Mm,
was selling them for a while. Um, that they're so unstable. They come out with deformities and kinks in their spines, and like their colorations. Like this one might have some good patterns on its dorsal fin. This one might have something on its tail, and this one might have something on its peck or something. Like they're all different shades of gold. Like some of them would have a black line through them. Like just
mm,
not stable at all. I would not mess with them.
okay. That's a good one to know because I feel like that's something that I still haven't learned all the ways. You don't know how much choline is involved in a line until you breed it, and you're like, oh, this is why they're expensive because like only 2 out of 100 of them aren't messed up.
When I saw, I actually that was I think probably the first fish I ever bought off of Aquabid. I was scrolling Aquabid, and I saw gold-form cockatoides, and I said, "What the hell is that?" And when I Googled it, there was like two pictures. I'm like, "Oh man, this is rare." And the guy was like selling them from Hawaii, so I had them like shipped from Hawaii, and
Wow.
I was so excited to get them. I'm like, "Man, I'm gonna make a killing on these. Nobody has them." And then I went to House of Tropicals like 2 weeks later, and they had a tank full of them. And and then when they finally did start breeding, they were so unstable. You couldn't get anything that you would want to sell anyway. I mean, a few, but not many.
So what was the deformities like with them? Was it just bad color, or were they just like actively dying?
No, there was like kinks in them. Like you look at their spines, and maybe not like looking top down, they'd be okay. But if you look at them from the side, you could see it going up and down. Like it's not a straight line like it should be.
Yeah, yeah.
And then as they get older, it gets even worse, and they got like a hunchback. Like
Oh,
just
that
you know,
it's like one of those things. I mean, I haven't been keeping fish long enough to really deal with it that much, but there's some fish that age really poorly, and it's one of those things where you feel bad because like it's not supposed to be 100% about how they look, but it's like I kind of hate having this
yeah.
hunchback looking fish in my tank.
That's what it was. I mean, I did get a couple really nice looking males, and one of them was the one I took. I got third place at the clash that one year with,
Nice.
um, but it was very few and far between to find one that had whole intact finnage with good coloration and a straight spine. Like it was tough.
Nice.
So
Greg is
unless
dropping. He said red shoulders on the angelfish didn't sell well for me, which is interesting. Is it are wild type angelfish just only something that's cool to us superfish nerds, and most people just want the other?
probably,
Yeah, bro. I'll be honest. If I could breed an angel right now, I'd breed those pink glow angels. I don't. I'd breed those and sell them. I know that there are people doing it, but that seems like one of the highest value angelfish you can breed right now.
I'm on a waiting list.
Okay.
I got the waiting list for the marbles.
Oh, yeah, the marbles look very cool. That's one I don't know. I don't. Oh, the starfire you're breeding our glow, Greg Guppy guy says. Okay, I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to assume. Yeah, that
Yeah,
seems like a no brainer. And listen, there's nothing they can do for that fish. People are too lazy. I don't, or there's some mental block with egg scatters like the Daniels and stuff. Plus, those fish aren't that cool. But the starfire angelfish, like everyone's been breeding angels for all this time, so that's one glowfish thing. They're ready immediately. There's like 100 breeders that know how to pump those out.
yeah, and they breed true. Apparently, I mean, they all come out glow. So I mean,
Really, that's crazy. Um, uh, Oscar said, "I want Ultims are expensive," and Greg says, "June Kenny E has a great Ultim guy, not too expensive." Okay, sounds promising.
yeah, might have to reach out to Kenny one day.
Yeah,
That freaking I had six of them, and that freaking CO2 tank went on the fritz, and it gassed that whole tank. Man, that was so sad.
yeah. I'm
That,
I'm sorry
that
about
was
that.
definitely probably my worst day in my fish keeping career, man. When I came home and seen all them guys floating, had the six Ultim Angels, the two or three Congo puffers, and that shit sucked.
Yeah, I can't imagine, especially like those larger fish. It's harder to just pick them up and you know toss them wherever. Like you really gotta deal with the reality of the situation. You know what I mean? Like shit, I got six big fish that I have to take care of.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking, man.
I'm
But
sorry about that.
you got to take the losses. Take the losses because with the wins and all, it's not, you're not going to win every time.
How have you what have you learned about using hang on back filters? I know you use a lot of them. What are some do's or don'ts you would say with those?
No, I don't use hang on back.
No, not the filters, sorry. The breeder boxes. That's what I meant to say.
Oh, yeah, I do love those. I mean, that's honestly probably my biggest tool, really, because even though I say put the fish in the tank by themselves, I typically don't because I want to have more fish. So, I just keep an eye out, and then if I see a fish starting to breed, then whatever, I'll collect the eggs or whatever, or pull the parents and put the parents in the breeder box, and then just leave the eggs in the tank. That's my isolation method. So if I find somebody that's doing something,
Okay.
then go get the breeder box, put it on the tank, and figure out what I'm going to do with it. So yeah, I definitely use those guys a lot.
You put cichlid eggs in there, like the whole cave in the breeder box, or you most?
If,
Okay.
Usually with cichlids, what I'll do is I'll wait till they're wigglers, and then I'll suck them up with a turkey baster, and then just squirt them into the
Okay.
um, thing.
So like when they're still not even free swimming, you're sucking them up.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
When they're still wiggling on the ground.
Do you put them on anything in particular in the breeder box, or is it just do you have sand in there with
Nope.
just straight breeder
If
box?
I'm thinking about it ahead of time, depending on what kind of fish it is, I'll put a little tiny bit of Bacter AE
Okay.
in there, and then I put some tapple leaves, some
Okay.
Indian almond leaves in there, and but no, no, I don't put any substrate. Every once in a while, I might put some moss in there, depending on what kind of fish it is. If it's a bunch of little tiny fish, I'll put some Sawasser tang in there
But
just
you
to give
keep
them
it you
something.
you keep it just totally clean, like probably rinse it out, like no mold in there, or do you keep it moldy?
Yeah,
But
I do. I, when I come home in the afternoons, I take my turkey baster and suck the crap out of the bottom of it.
all right, so we're getting see you're very methodical with it, like you're very casual, like how you make it all sound, but then you're hatching brine shrimp every day, you're turkey bastering all the breeder boxes every day, like
pretty much when I get home from work, which might be 5 or 6, I get home, whatever, relax for an hour or two, do dumb shit. But I pretty much spend every evening a couple hours messing with fish. Whether it's water changes or sucking out um, breeder boxes or moving fish around. But I mean, I can't think of a day really where I've just said screw it and not done anything. I'm pretty much a couple
yeah,
hours a day. It's definitely not a. It doesn't. It's not like I'm doing it without. I'm putting in the sweat equity. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. You're not showing up to the auctions with all those fish by accident, like
I mean, yeah. I'm not saying that, but yeah. I mean, it's not like I'm just stumbling upon them all. I feel like I'm putting in the work. So it
yeah,
gives me some results.
no, that's
But
that's pretty cool. I feel like that's one of the things is you're one of those people you go to the auction and you bring a bunch of fish and a lot of those people you don't necessarily know like the story behind it. Sometimes it's one of those more experienced gentlemen where they have like a crazy basement or something that they've been running for some time, and but other times you just don't know. Like you, I just had no idea what it looked like. You just show up with the whiptails, with the epistos, with the Achilles, whatever it is. So it's cool just to hear about all the work that goes into that.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely not like they just appear. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of work, and I probably miss out on a lot of stuff. But I don't know. It's keeps me busy because honestly, sitting down not doing anything drives me nuts. So
Yeah,
keeps me busy.
no, I feel that. Uh, Out of everything right now, what is the stuff you're thinking about moving on from?
I mean, I guess at some point I'm gonna have to move on from these nannochromis.
Really,
You know, um,
really.
the betta mahachiensis. I think I'm pretty much done with those guys. I've
Okay.
pretty much done what I need to do with those.
Is this just a you don't really feel? Is it just a you don't feel that you're not really into keeping some of these a long term unless you super like them, or is this just like I feel like I made so many of these, I flooded it, I'm gonna move on, or
Yeah, kinda. I'll keep a pair. I'll keep a pair, but I wouldn't try to spawn them again. If I won't pull babies or anything.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know, maybe in a couple of years or something, but yeah, I'm not too worried about doing that again.
So the nannochromis transvestitus, why move on from for those? Like what's your conclusion with them after all this time being the best breeder of them in the world?
Well, no, just I could put something else in those tanks that isn't a little more. Not it sounds, I guess,
No,
arrogant or whatever, but try
you're looking
something a little.
for you're looking for a new challenge. No,
Yeah.
I respect that. I mean, hey, you've bred a ton of those nannochromis, so I feel like you've done your work in spreading those around.
They've definitely gone to all corners of this country at this point.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. How many of them do you think you've sent out there, one way or another?
Mm, I don't know, maybe 200, 150, 200, something like that. I mean, if you're doing groups of five, I mean, I'm including what I sell at the
Yeah,
auctions and
yeah, yeah.
stuff, you know.
Of course. That's awesome.
Um, yeah, probably, I don't know, maybe that's probably a lot. I don't know, 100, 150 maybe. I don't know.
You did quite a few. What about
That's probably,
the Beta Machinensis? Those look really nice. You seem pretty excited about them. You haven't had them as long as the Nanochromis. Why do you feel like you've done your part on these?
I don't think people are as excited as I was hoping they were going to be over.
Okay.
People like the colorful bettas. They're not too into the. I don't know.
I thought they were pretty colorful.
They are. I don't know. I just felt like
You feel like this is just
it's a,
the auctions or just in
well, it's
general?
kind of a tough sell because really, I think you need to separate them because the males. I'm noticing now as the tanks are getting less in the tanks, the males are starting to go after each other more, which makes me wonder. When they were 200 in the tank, I guess they were just spreading the aggression out.
Yeah.
But I think that they're pretty much like their attitude is very similar to a domestic betta, to where you really probably need to be pulling and separating the males and females in pairs as opposed to growing them out in a giant tank like I've been doing.
Right.
So I kind of feel like maybe I'm not quite set up to handle that type of operation.
Is what how easy was it with breeding them? Was that something like a 10 gallon in a pair and then you had a bunch, or what was the setup there?
They did that completely on their own, man. I brought that tank home from the Keystone Clash. That was the aquascaping tank. And if I brought it home on Saturday, I ordered those fish on like Sunday, and they had eggs by like Wednesday.
Mm.
I think I didn't. I wasn't even sure if they were going to survive in there because the tank was so new. It wasn't cycled. It wasn't anything. It was just literally set up 6 days ago.
Right.
And when I set it up, I didn't rinse the gravel or anything. It was the aquascaping tank. I mean, it was like I didn't know what was going to happen. And then within there was like the second day they were in the tank, he started building a bubble nest. And then like the fourth day, I saw all these little eyelashes hanging off the bottom of the bubbles, and I was like, "Holy shit, those are babies!" So I
That
just
go
scooped them up
right into the breeder box.
right into the breeder box and
All right.
put some vinegar reels in there, and for the first couple of days, and then baby brine shrimp from there. It was super easy.
So that's two right there. Two tanks opening up. What are you eyeing for the next challenge? You think you just got to go full wild beta, or
Well, I'm gonna use that to separate my beta macrostoma. I want to take those tanks, at least one of those tanks, put my females in those tanks to give them some separation, and then reintroduce them
okay?
in a couple of weeks. I want to give them a break. That's my goal. I want to do something. I want to breed those fish.
Okay, beta macrostoma. Because you got a couple of them.
I've got two pairs. Well, I got a trio and a pair. So, I
Damn.
mean,
That talk about investment. That's in space alone. That's a pretty big investment. It's a big beta.
I have them in a 10. I mean, they do all right. They're not nearly as big as Antuta.
Not,
Those
but
better.
they get pretty
Like,
big though, right? Or do they not get that big?
nah, not real. I mean, 4 inches maybe.
Okay, but you
Like
can't put like a bunch. Can you put a bunch of stuff in there though? Like you still got to dedicate. Okay.
that. They're just them.
Okay. You still got to dedicate some space, for sure.
Yeah, just them.
So,
So,
what about You think they're gonna occupy both those new tanks, or you have space for one more? You're getting rid of two things. Can you bring two things? We got beta macrostoma expansion. What else is out there?
Mm.
Oh, see, this is the best part. The best part is, ooh, what am I gonna try and breed next?
I guess it's probably be those glow angels because that's supposed to be in. They said they'll be ready in 2 weeks.
Oh
So
shit. Okay. Beta macrostoma and glow angels. We got wild type betas, and then an abomination.
yeah, the most purest thing on planet Earth, and then a brave club.
It's funny because I feel like the glowfish eight. It's like one of those things where like if you're like super good at your job, it doesn't matter how terrible of a person you are. Like some people, they just they're good at their job. They make excuses. I feel like the glow angels are like that. Like people that hate glow angels, they're like, but these ones are cool. You know what I mean? But they're really cool. So like, we're gonna give them the pass.
Those glow Danios that I got at the clash last year, they kind of did change my whole kind of attitude towards glowfish. Like it showed me that a glowfish can be a glowfish and still, like, to me, cool looking.
Yeah.
It because up until that point, I never even gave them the time of day. I just
Yeah.
never even crossed my mind. I'll never keep them. Not happening. I don't want them. I'm not interested. No, thank you. And then when I got those, it was like, wow, I really like those, man. Check them out. You can see them from 20 feet away. Like those guys are cool to watch.
Yeah.
And then when I was in Go Fish a couple weeks ago, he had one of those marble glow angels, and man, it was just really cool looking. I was like, man, that's freaking neat looking. Like, but he didn't know where it came from. And then one of the guys in the ACM posted a picture that he was
Wait, what
growing
do you
them
mean
out.
he didn't know where it came from?
Because somebody dropped them off. Like he said they were like super busy. It was like a Saturday. They were super
Yeah.
busy.
That sounds like illegal. Hey, I don't know where they came from. They just this glowfish just fell into my tank. It might have been a licensed dealer that dropped them off.
I mean, maybe that's what he said. No, I don't know. He just said that they were busy, and somebody said, "Hey, I got some fish here. Will you take them?" And he said,
Yeah.
"Yeah, just set the bucket over there." And then when he went to go dump the bucket out, he didn't know what was in it. It was some fish, and one of
Okay.
them was that glow. He goes, "Hey, man, you want to go see a fish that doesn't exist?" I was like, "Sure."
I see. Yeah.
Then he showed me that. And
I
That's
see
cool.
people posting they're breeding them and they got tanks full of them. So I mean, I think glowfish is gonna have a hell of a time enforcing whatever. 'Cause, whenever someone posts it, half the comments are like, "No, it's illegal to sell them." Like, shut up.
And every single one of them, I comment like, "You should call the FBI." Oh wait, they don't give a shit.
Yeah, shut up, man. I hate those people. Like, are you gonna tell them? Like, a worst case scenario, maybe they say stop or they send a fine. I mean, it doesn't seem like it'd be worth their time to do too much for most of these people. You'd have to really be selling a lot of them to where they're just like, okay, buddy, how is there 10 stores with them in stock if we haven't sent any to those stores?
You might be surprised. They might be really petty once they find out, like, because they want to make an example of you, so that people in the future,
Yeah.
like, it wouldn't take much to slap somebody with whatever that is, a copyright lawsuit or
I think
whatever. I mean,
there'll be an. I think there'll be an. There'll be an. They have to make an example of someone at some point. Otherwise, it's just gonna.
yeah, because once one person gets away with it, then the whole world's it's just gonna open up the floodgates. So I mean, if they want to try to protect their investments, which obviously they're trying to do,
Yeah.
I definitely, if I was gonna do it, I wouldn't advertise it.
Yeah. There's not. First of all, yeah. If you're breeding glowfish, I probably wouldn't advertise it. I would take them to the auction. If you take them to the auction, I'd probably be like, oh, I got them, but I don't like them anymore. Or just like don't talk about the fact that you don't submit them for breeder award points, probably. But it's kind of like the killifish. Like they rated the killifish guys over some Brazil killifish, and now to this day, all the killifish people it's like I can't get a straight answer. Like the store will be like, "Oh, no, this is legal." The old guy will be like, "The FBI's on the way." I don't know what to think.
It's kind of crazy. It really is. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say, but we're just gonna focus on growing them out for now. We'll see what
All right, all
happens.
right. Jessica, it said, "I can't sit still more than 20 minutes either, Steve." And on Glowfish also said they might go full Nintendo, which that could be kind of crazy. Smart person said, "Can they ban it though? If you do use the trademark name, it's not like you signed a contract. If you don't use the trademark name, what can they do?" I think they have the like genetics. You could trademark
Yeah.
like there's farm animals that are trademarked too. I believe like that's like a apparently a thing that's been pretty common. Do you know anything about that? Like farm strains or something?
Oh, I mean, I think um, like Kobe beef. That's like a trademarked. But I know there's like lots of plants that are the same way. You know, there's different pothos and philodendrons that are trademarked, and you know,
Oh shit! I lost him. We lost Steve for a second. What's up, Aquatic News Networks? It says, "Howdy, Earthlings. Word to your fishes, dishes on the world." Oscar says, "Glowfish are on eBay and many for sale online." George Kalia said, "F, yeah, Big Steve. He's vanished on us. He's a loading bubble now." Smart person said, "If you buy Monsanto Roundup Ready seeds as a farmer, you do agree not to reproduce the seeds as far as I know." Yeah. I think there's some good reason. I was reading about that. Apparently, there's some good reasons why they don't want people reproducing the seeds. I forget what it was. I think it has something to do with like genetic stability. I have no idea. What do you guys been thinking though? Big Steve. How long have we been talking with Big Steve? It's been about an hour and a half. An hour and a half. I feel like he's been dropping some serious gems. Maybe said glowfish don't actually glow unless under blue light. They're just regular bright color. Dorsicalia said, "What a guy. What a guy indeed." Sorry, I was trying to see if I could figure out what's going on here. "Oh boy, I'm a farm raised boy. Monsanto is my only true enemy." Why is it your true enemy? What's going on with that? See, I don't know anything about these kinds of things. We've gone beyond my ability to comment on things. Also, I didn't realize the picture of the cuttlefish eggs. It's just like been on the screen this whole time. Okay, let me get myself on the screen. I think is Discord like down or something right now? Because it's not even working for myself. Oop, my goodness, I made myself big. Pause. I don't like that. 1 second. Ugh. Get my thing back up. All right. Let's see what we got in the chat going on. Aquatic News Network says Monsanto and its practices are partially, and by that I mean more than 25% responsible for the downfall of health and food production in the USA. I could write you 500-page memoir on the reasons. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Monsanto has even sent their seeds to other countries, and the countries that burned them in rejection and protest to the GMO and effed up practices. Yeah, see, I need to learn more about this kind of thing. It's kind of wild. Okay. I'm trying to see if we can get Big Steve back on. I'm restarting Discord. Didn't India bird the seas? Probably. Man, I've been wanting to. Big Steve, I think he's been on here twice, technically, before, but I wanted to talk to him for a while. Luckily, hopefully we get him back on. Before we didn't, I feel like I did get to talk to him about most of what I wanted to, and uh, I feel like he's such a quiet, humble guy, but I really do love a lot of the ways that he approaches and just thinks about things. George Ciclia said he needs more wild bettas, though. I mean, he's got 5 beta macrostoma. It's a pretty, yeah, it's a pretty good start. Hey, we're back.
Are we on?
We're on. Let's go.
What the heck
Oh my!
happened there, man?
I don't know. I don't know what happened, but don't ever do that to us again. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Everyone was
Mexicali's
just.
going.
You said what?
Mexicali's going now.
Oh, is he? Is he streaming?
That's what it said.
Who are you talking to? That guy's always working hard. Who do you? That's a good question. That whole conversation with Beto, did you hear? I guess you might not have heard, but at one point we were talking about the perfect panel for Mexicali on the stream because I was like, we need to recreate the entertainment value of Discus North and Aquafunk. That was just like pure comedy. Like I told him I need another panel like that I could listen to. I was trying to figure out who to put on there.
I mean, I think you're putting on some big shoes to fill Aquafunk's personality.
Well, he could be on the panel still too. I mean, he could be. I don't think we could put him and Discus North together. You know, they got that lover's quarrel thing going on. Like, I just don't think it's gonna work. But
I think that makes it even better.
The tension. You know what would be crazy? I can't believe I didn't think about it. But yo, what if he could somehow get Skeptical on there and like someone else? Skeptical and probably like anyone really. Skeptical and Fathom and Stephen P or something. I don't know. That would probably be pretty entertaining.
I don't know how much I could take it Skeptical.
Come on, you don't like emoji, man? Ooh.
I'm losing faith in all these AI.
Really?
I'm sick of freaking AI at this point, man. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure I'll use it at some point and jump on the bandwagon, and I just really haven't. But man, all these you watch all these videos now, and everything's AI narrated and all that. Man, I hate it.
I hate it.
Like as soon as I hear AI narration, man, I'm just turning it off, dude. I'm not hearing it. Like
I'm exactly the same. I'm even sick of I'm sick of, bro. Every flyer looks the same. It's not even just, I'm not even just thumbnails. Like every event flyer, it's just not every even fish. Just everything in life all looks the same right now.
Yeah,
it's terrible. I hate it. It's got the goofy big bubbles with all the different information in it and stuff. Like, bro, it's not supposed to be a comic book. It's a flyer. Like, I miss my poorly made local government flyers.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue, but yes, it's there ain't nothing we can do about it. We just got to learn to live with it.
That's true. One thing I wanted to ask you about that I still get into a little bit of club stuff, I guess, is auctions, which everyone always loves. Everyone loves going to auctions. Everyone's buying, selling auctions. Everyone also loves talking about auctions. So, was there a time when you were going to auctions when you weren't breeding as much stuff?
Yeah, for sure. Trying to think, the first auction I ever went to was PVAS. And, of course, I had nothing. I brought nothing. I was just sitting there watching. And I probably went to, I don't know, 6 or 8 auctions before I did finally actually have the guts to bring something. And I brought some electric blue Acaras, and they died in the freaking bag. And
oh God! No, that's not where I thought that was going.
It was actually to boot. It was at CatCon, so it was like a convention.
Oh,
and the guy stands in front. He goes, "Whose bag is this? They're dead." And I'm like,
"Oh, the walk of shame! No,
yeah, dude, it was so bad,
no.
Man. It was so bad.
That's terrible."
Yeah, I'm like, man, you couldn't have just set him off to the side. You had to call me out like that, bro. Come on, dude.
Yeah, honestly, like the auctioneers be doing too. It'd be so rude for no reason sometimes when it comes to. Well, sometimes not even auctioneers. Sometimes it's some random other person that comes up and does it. But I mean, I get it. There are some situations where like, yo, this person deserves to get roasted. But then there's times like, remember when Lottie took the bag of catfish and threw it on the ground at ACM because he was like,
No,
"Did you miss that?" Yo,
I must have that.
John had taken some quarries, and I will say it was terrible. They're terribly bad. Okay, he's improved, but John's bagging, especially at the time, it wasn't that good. But Lonnie was basically doing some rant about how like the catfish release venom and stuff, and he's like, "You should bag it like this and blah blah." And then what you should do is put them in a bag and throw it on the ground. And he slams it back on the ground, and he's like, and then they'll release its venom, and like then they release the venom and then you like rebag or whatever. I don't know. It was like kind of it was a wild moment. But he was
Holy
also
shit.
like, that's what I remember. That's what I remember. That's what I remember him doing. But it was a minute ago. But he was definitely yelling at John about that bagging, and
His old ass over.
it was pretty funny. Uh, Fish plants. Okay. Glowfish forced. Unless you live in a completely dark apartment, glowfish are forced to live life with an unrealistic emitting light. Stress is a thing. Oh my gosh, Vic hates glowfish so much. Now he's talking about them stressed out by their own light emissions. I gotta hire Vic for some anti-glowfish PR. He comes up with everything. I didn't think about doing that. Um, so wait, do we still have you here? Oh my god, bro, there's no way. Oh, we lost Big Steve. We lost Big Steve. For 1 second. I don't think. I'm trying to remember my first time I took fish to an auction. They did not. I don't think I don't think I've had fish die in the bag that I can remember at the auction. I could be wrong. I don't remember that happening, but it doesn't. It's, you know, it's definitely possible, but I haven't had that moment. Ah, there we go. Okay, we're good. I was just
Fuck
saying
is your
I don't know. I was just saying I don't think I've had that moment where like something's in the bag that's dead and I gotta go up. I probably have had one where like something was. They're like, okay, who bagged this? Like, do better next time. I probably had that, but I asked because
He's
like a
like,
lot
who?
of yeah,
Like, oh, God.
a lot of people they're pretty nervous about taking fish to the auction for the first time. I definitely was, but it's been a minute, so it's hard to remember sometimes. But you probably remember perfectly because of your first experience. So what would you say to people taking fish for the first time?
Bag lightly. Don't put 4 electric blow cars in too small of a bag. If you're worried about it, put them in individual bags, tape the bags together. And especially if you're going to be like an all day type thing where, or you're driving a couple hours and you're at an auction for a couple hours and then the auction, then a couple hours drive home. Like, you never really know how long the fish are going to end up being in the bag. So you're better off bagging, go on the light side.
Okay, no, that's
And
good.
then with the big fish, you got to worry about the spines.
Okay. Do you? Is this where like a 2 mil, 3 mil bag thing comes in? Like, is there any like go-to bag sizes you? I mean, know you have the fancy bags now, but like,
Yeah, I kind of gave up. So I don't really know what the answer to that is because I was never good at doing rubber bands, so I always tied knots. And I can't tie knots in 3 mil bags because the
mm,
plastic is too thick.
I
So
didn't
it
think of
kind of
that.
needs to be a double bag 2 mil bag. But then if it was a really prickly fish, I'd probably triple bag it. It's you really can't be too safe because it really sucks to get to an auction and have a leaking bag. That
What
sucks.
fish with spines have given you trouble before?
What's that?
I said, what fish with spines have given you trouble before, if at all?
Plecos.
Okay. Okay.
Plecos. I brought a couple plecos and electric fluorocars because they get all bouncing around in the bag and they got some dorsal spikes that,
Yeah.
yeah, they'll pop them.
Oh, by the way, George Ciclidi had a good suggestion. He said, "Can we get Bentley and the guy that renounced Father Fish too?" So I think that's Patty's Aquatics. You know, Bentley, Patty's Aquatics, and Father Fish at Mexicali would be a good, or swap Father Fish out for Aquafunk. Although,
There you go.
do they all kind of do they all disagree enough? I'm trying to think. It's boring when everyone just agrees on everything.
So
You know what I mean?
you're trying to make a Naked and Afraid episode.
No, it's just like you want to have people with different perspectives talk. And everyone just agrees with each other. It's like, what's the point? They don't gotta like fight, but like, so discuss things different. Because we could talk about water changes and blah blah, and it's like the same conversation. But you got the same topic, but it play out much differently based on who it is. I feel like that would be kind of a interesting group of people, somewhere around there. But how about the auction side? So you're taking fish, all right, bagging stuff. What should people's expectations be as far as like money? What advice would you give the expectation of how much money you make on a fish and things like that?
So one of my big things, and I know money, people and money, they look at it differently. To me, I don't go in with any expectations. You know, if the bags, if I bring a $40 bag of fish and it sells for $2, that's what it sells for. I'm not going to be mad about it. It is what it is. You know, I brought those 3 saltwater fish to your auction and they sold for $2. You know,
Yeah,
that was $35 worth of fish. But I mean, just, I don't know. I don't want to
charge
say
it to
that
the
I don't,
game.
yeah, I don't want to say that I don't count money, but I don't really count auction money. Like, if you get what you get and you don't throw a fit, like
Mm.
every auction is going to be different. So to go into it with expectations, you're going to probably let yourself down. You're not
All
going
right.
to. It's going to be unrealistic because every single one's different. Some are buyers auctions, some are sellers auctions. Attendance is a huge factor. If there's not enough people there, you're gonna get hit in the head. But then if you don't bring your stuff because it's a small auction, then it's an even smaller auction. So it's like a snowball. So I'm not gonna really pay attention to what's in the auction. I'm not gonna pay attention to what's going on. I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do, and whatever happens, happens. And it usually works out pretty good.
I
But
like
every
that.
once in a while, you get your feelings hurt.
No, that's good advice. I think you got to know what you're getting into. You can't be mad if stuff sells for too little. If there's I mean, that's what minimums for. Although I just hate doing minimums personally. It's just takes the
I
fun out
hate,
of it.
hate
I
minimums.
have to do it sometimes, but
Yeah, every once in a while I'll do it, but it's very rare that I'm going to do a minimum. And
yeah,
putting a $30 minimum on a $2 fish,
yeah.
that's crazy.
Like so, the one auction you went to, like we had some people that did the minimum on the cribs. I'm trying to remember what it was, but it was like the cribs. It was a pair of cribs, and the minimum was like $40 or something,
Yeah,
which is like
yeah,
one end of the minimum. But the problem is that especially if the auction's already gotten to a place where people know the price is getting lowered, the initial price, they're waiting. Once the minimum's like, oh, we're not doing that, they just keep waiting for it to keep going and going. Like, okay, you can lower it. Okay, you can lower it. Like, so it's just like I hate minimums because if no one bids on the minimum, then it's gonna be even worse than if you never put the minimum on.
and yeah, right. Because if it doesn't go for the minimum, people don't want it for some reason. It's like, never mind. I just don't want it.
Yeah, that's what I see.
Whereas
That's what the no sales happen. Is the stuff with minimums. I feel like that's when the no sales start
because
coming
a
in.
lot of times I feel like when you're bidding on something, if you started at $1, they start getting emotional. They're bidding on it. All right, I've already bid on it 4 times. Now I really want it. Now this guy's messing with me. Now I want to win it. Whereas if you're just $40 and you're looking for someone to spend $40, good luck.
Yeah. Well, this is something
And
interesting. you've done a lot of auctioneering, which I feel like there's not too many auctioneers. Um, what would you say you've learned from being an auctioneer to other people that might want to do it or that people that are doing it? Because I would say you've done enough where I'd consider you to be a pretty solid auctioneer. I mean, it's mostly been ACM. I don't know how many other places you've done, but ACM's got a lot of items regularly. So you've had
Yeah,
the
I
reps.
get that. Um, it's kind of interesting because, when you're sitting in the seats, you don't get to see really, like you're looking at the back of people's heads, but when you're standing up front and everybody's looking at you and you can see their face and, just the different mentalities, the guys that are just, and they just hold it up until they win. They don't care what it costs. I'm going to win. I don't care what it is. But then, or you got the old guy in the corner and he's like,
He just just barely flicking his hand up like at the last second.
or like tipping his hat, like he's doing some secret bid or something. Like,
Tipping
bro,
his hat.
I'm literally pointing to you. They know who's bidding. Like, I'm pointing to you, bro.
They want to do
Um,
the secret bidding. They got the hand signals, the hat tip,
yeah,
the
and then, but the emotional aspect of it, like where where do you draw the line at? Somebody they're bidding on something and it's $8, $9, $10, $11, $12. Nope, I'm done. Like, wait a minute, you're okay at $11, but $12 is just way too much. Like, did you, and then the guys that, like I said, they just want to hold it up and they don't care what it is. They're just
yeah.
gonna win, and they're just the whole psyche, like mentality. It's very interesting to watch the people, the different ways people do it, the different ways they get emotional about it, and
So
it's
how have
definitely
you been able to? Have you learned like that you can affect how much something goes for? Like I know this went this high because I was an auctioneer. Like what are those things you've learned you can do to kind of get people excited about it?
well. One of the things, like when I first started auctioneering, Mandy was really big on don't ever say anything negative about what you're auctioning. I don't care if you don't want duckweed. It's a great bag of duckweed, great goldfish food. Buy it. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't care if I don't like what's in the bag or I think it's stupid. I'm gonna be like, wow, man, look at this. This is really neat. Like, here we got this cool fish, and it's gonna go really good. I don't really try to. I don't think I really have ever, brought in like made some huge sale and like turn the tables on anything. But I really do try to get the most that I can get.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes I probably start a little too low, and that might affect it to where I could have got a few more dollars from it. But I also get scared because sometimes if you don't get that first, it's kind of like the buy it now or the minimum thing, where if you start too high,
Yeah.
people are like less likely to bid on it.
It's
Or
like
if you
a
just
free.
start,
It's a free fall.
when you start out at $2 and then seven hands go up, and now it's a competition between seven people. Whereas if I start at $10 and one person is interested, then it's gonna sell for $10.
Right.
Like, so, but it's that whole different. It's like a, I don't
Yeah.
know, a psychological thing. You know what I mean? Like,
No, for
just
sure.
it's
For sure. And
interesting.
it's weird that you have to say it, but like I've been to many auctions and I've only auctioneered a few times, so I definitely have a lot to learn and not that good. But what I've noticed other people auctioneering is there's a lot of people that will trash what's in the bag. I'm not talking about because it's good to joke. Like if it's duckweed, hey, this is like I like when people joke about it. Like we all know it's
Sure.
duckweed, but you keep it kind of
Yeah.
like light, like that's fun. But like I've been to auctions where the person's like, anyone want this bag of junk?
Right.
Like,
Right. They're like, who brought the duckweed? Who's gonna buy it? Like like putting it off on people or something. It's just
yeah,
why? Don't do that.
yeah,
Somebody took the time to bag that. Like it was important to them. It was important enough to them to bring it. Just sell it. Just be respectful to it. Don't nobody gives a shit what you think anyway.
mm.
Nobody asks you for your opinion. They want you to sell the item.
Yeah. I think that's a nice way of, it was, like you said, someone took the time to bag it at the end of the day. I think that's a good way to put it. Now, here's the unique thing about us having this conversation. We've been in a lot of auctions together where either
Yeah.
you're not auctioneering or you are auctioneering. So how about this? You tell me what kind of bidder I am, and I'll say what kind of bidder I think you are. I'll go. Actually, I'll
You're
go first. Let me go first.
sure.
Let me go first. Let me go first. So Steve, he's auctioneering. He's good, nice guy. Once Steve isn't auctioneering, I don't want to bid against. I don't want to bid against him. He's the kind that only really bids on stuff that he actually wants. He's not really bidding on a bunch of random stuff in my experience. Like when he bids on something, he's just gonna pay whatever it is. Like he's not one of those like I'm looking for a deal necessarily. He's like, hey, I know the retail value. I'm willing to go up to retail on a lot of things. I feel like with you, like I just
Yeah, I
know
mean,
you're
if I
gonna
can
get it.
save, if I can save on the shipping, I mean, because it was typically if I'm buying something, I've already looked at it, like, or I've known that I've wanted it. I've looked it up. I know, okay, they're $60 a pair, and I can get them from there, and it's $60 shipping, so it's $120. Like those Beta Antuta. I told Tim, I said, they're in my cart at Blackwater Aquatics right now for $120, and they want $60 shipping.
Nice.
So if you can get them for $120, I'm good. And that's what they went for. That's what I got them for. And did I overpay? Maybe. Could I? I mean, I don't know. Who knows? But
Yeah, but
when
you
you see
want that.
when you
You know
see
what
a
you
rare
want.
fit, buy it because they're not. It's not going to be there next month. Like you got to jump on it. So and some of the fish are just so rare that retail doesn't even matter because it's not for sale in the stores.
Mm,
Try to find it. Try to find it, and it's
yeah,
hard. So yeah, you just got to jump on it when you see it.
that's
For your
definitely what you're
business
doing.
style, I think you're definitely a bargain shopper, but you're also kind of sneaky too. Like you like sneak in the like I'll be thinking like we're down to the last two bidders and it's like 10, 11, 12, going once, going twice, and then Nick pops up. Like, wait a minute, where the hell did he come from? I'm over here talking to these two guys, and then all of a sudden he's trying to get in on it. So yeah, you always kind of shock me when you bid. I never really know when you're gonna bid.
Okay, so I'm still a little bit of an enigma. I like that. I
Yeah,
like
yeah, for
that.
sure. You're a
I
little
mean, I definitely
mysterious.
got a reputation for fucking around in the auction. It's a good fit. I be bidding on random shit. I mean, it's usually there's not really much strategy behind it. If it's an all day auction, though, I'll be honest. I want you guys to spend some money because I'm probably gonna sit through the whole auction. So like, I'm not. Sometimes you'll see the auctions. If no one bids against them, one guy buys every single thing. Like
Yeah,
we do the auction reviews on here, so we see when one of these auctions goes that no one's bidding against anyone. One person just buys everything for $2. I'm like, well, I mean, that's a cool fish. I'll bid on it. I'm not gonna buy it for $20, but I'll bid it up to there, and if he still wants it, then fine. It's kind of how I look at it. But also, it's fun. I hate just sitting there doing nothing the whole time.
yeah. Well, that's it. It gives you something to do. It keeps you interested. Keeps you,
Yeah,
invested.
I think that's the main thing. It's
Another
just
thing
fun.
that I'd started doing is like bidding on things, like when I'm auctioning stuff. Like if I know that these pair of fish are worth $30, I'm just gonna say I got $10 for these. Like we're
Yeah,
not gonna start at $2. We're gonna start at $10 because I'll pay at least 10. Like I'm, I got 10. Who's got 12? We're
yeah,
not starting at. Let's go to 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 12. Like now I
yeah.
got $20. Who's got 22?
That's something
I
I've
don't
seen
really
you,
want
you you and
what
Scotty
I know.
both do a lot, and it works. Like when you guys bid on it yourselves, that seems to work quite a lot. That seems to work quite a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
Matthew
I guess.
said my hot takes is I don't like minimums because I don't go into auctions to make money. Essentially,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm changing on that a little bit. I'm almost because like when some of the PVAS thing happened and people were mad about the checks being late. One of the things people said, well, you shouldn't be going to an auction to try and make money. And like one of my things was, well, one, it's been a long time, but two, I mean that's true, but they owed me like $400, which is like a real amount of money. That's like I could do something useful with $400 right now. So and that when it comes to the point where you're bringing that much stuff, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, every time I go to an auction, and I actually bring stuff, I'm making more than $300. Like I'm not doing this for money. I mean, I'm making a noticeable. It's hard for me not to notice that I'm making money when I go to the auction. So how am I gonna sit here and be like, oh, I'm not doing it for the money? I mean, would I bag 30 lots if I was gonna get $50? Fuck no.
If there's no monetary value, if there's no monetary incentive to it, why do it? I mean, God,
Fuck no.
it takes me 6 hours to bag all this shit up and print all these labels and do all this shit. Like, if I'm gonna, like, yeah, I want to make some money doing it.
Yeah, and you do it real nice too. I mean, I don't even have like you got like real fancy labels and stuff. So I think it's an interesting thing. Like, there's some people that kind of feel like you shouldn't be wanting to get any money out of it sometimes, and I don't. I kind of was getting that at first, but now I'm kind of like, I feel like you could want to go to auctions to make money. Like, what's the problem? Like,
I see no problem in that, because if you're making money, then the club's making money. That's the whole point.
yeah, yeah. Although that is one thing. Like, I did the PVAS. The cut was 30% or whatever. I think I sold like $500 worth of stuff. When I saw that cut, I think that was when I first was like, yeah, I can't. I really am starting to want to know what clubs are spending money on, because if I'm giving you $100+ every time, and I see you have 50 lots donated from Florida Aquatic Nurseries, fish donated from Wet Spot, you probably don't even need the money that you're cutting from my thing.
Yeah,
That's
I make it a goal not to pay attention to that.
I know it, but I couldn't ignore it that one time. I was like,
don't want to know. I know.
I know you don't, because when you did our auction, you didn't even know what the cut was. So you definitely don't.
I don't want to know. Because I remember at ACM when we first started talking about it, and like, I think I know what ACMs is, but I don't know if it's changed. Like, I really don't care. Mostly because it's not. First off, I can't change it, and second off, I'm still going to make more money than they are, and
yeah,
you know.
I mean, overall, it's usually worth it, but seeing that multiple times, I was
it does.
well, because I do the reviews on stream, so that's part of it. It's like I look on stream exactly how much I buy and sell, so over time, I'm like, yo, this cut is crazy. You know, like I would much rather use that to buy some more fish. And then we did our auction, and we took $2 per bag, and I got to see how much I made off a similar amount. I made $454, and you know that would have been a lot less if you take 30% from that. So now I'm kind of like, I don't know if I can go back. I can just do my club's auctions, and every now and then I might go to one, but you know.
But there's also going to be said that things probably sell higher at PVAS.
That's true. That's very true.
So, I mean, if it's selling 20% more,
in the era of Dr. Tim, yo, I need to see the big statements now before I go and give clubs any more money. The Dr. Tim thing, like CCY, they're 501c3 laps or whatever. Who knows what's going on with that? Yo, let me see what you're gonna do with the money first. ACLC there has been some cool group buys and stuff going on, though. I will say that.
See, I gotta keep a better track of that stuff because I miss out on all that crap. Didn't I hear you say you guys were doing a Ken's fish buy or something? Or did you already do it?
No, we haven't done that. I want to, but I think we're doing a fish group buy next. But
gosh.
Yeah, I think that's also part of it. It's like, you know, I hate driving. I hate doing all that stuff. Like, if you're not really in it for the money that much, then also it's kind of like a thing on top of that. Like, I ship fish, so I honestly have to go to the auction.
Yeah, that too.
But also, I think I've definitely enjoyed having more weekends. I will say that I've enjoyed.
Yeah, that's when they had the shop hop at ACM last weekend, and then was it you guys were doing a shop hop too or something?
Yep, we did. We just went to London Town.
Yeah, I was kind of happy because I just wasn't really feeling meeting. You know what I mean? I don't know, just wasn't in meeting mode for the last couple of weeks. So
I didn't want to go either. I was the only one from the board at the meeting. I think everyone wanted to do something that day. It was a nice day. Also, Toonie Loon
Yeah,
said spite bidding is fun. I love, yeah, spite bidding is fun.
pipe bidding
Matthew
is fun.
Matthew says my Matalebius Aphenis going for $10 a pair. Ouch. Mick said, do you go to a job and don't care about getting paid or not? That's true. Ross said those are cheap mofos complaining, trying to get a mega deal. Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of those.
I mean, like you said, you shouldn't go to auction trying to make money, but at the same time, no one would take their. Not many people would take their fish to auctions regularly if they didn't make some amount of money off of it. So
There was no monetary, yeah, if there's no monetary incentive, then I'll just go do something else.
I think the golden zone is have a club with decent attendance, make the cut really favorable, and then better fish come, and then more people come. Like, because there are people like Ross. I think there's more people than people realize, like Ross, that are not. First of all, they're not taking their fish to an auction because the price is going to be not what's acceptable to them. But on top of that, the 30% actually matters to them. There's a decent amount of breeders that do care enough about money and stuff. They're not going to regularly come
Yeah,
with those two things. So I think it's a consideration. You could mess with that.
sure. Yeah, I mean that if you want top dollar for your fish, and I don't blame you for wanting it, you're not going to get it at an auction. Plain and simple.
Now, what about the all day auctions though? Like, are those basically like a surefire things are going to sell higher, or do you still have to be careful
So
with your strategy?
my hack, my hack on those is to bump all your shit. So if you're taking 10 lots, take an extra $40 and bump every single one of your lots so they go early because nobody wants their stuff selling at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That stuff's going for dollars. So all day auctions are really cool because they bring a lot of people come from a lot of areas, and there's a lot of different stuff that doesn't come to your monthly meetings.
Yeah.
But you can also kind of get lost in the shuffle because if your bags all get set to one side or whatever, if you don't get good timing, you could really lose out. So
Okay. Bump for sure and all day. Is there stuff that you would still, I guess, from auctioneer standpoint too, like how you present the fish, or is there fish where you should include additional information so it can go properly? Like, have you seen stuff go low and it was the seller's fault it went low, basically?
well, for example, like I bought those Ela salmon from you, and they didn't have a location on them when I got them.
Mm-hmm.
So for the first like 3 months or 6 months or whatever, I just thought they were Ela salmon, but then I found out that they were Wakasa Springs. So I mean, I feel like that makes them worth a little bit more. If you can put a location on them, if you give the more information you can give them, that's, you notice on mine, I'll say a lot of times where I got the fish from, if I got the fish from Blackwater Aquatics, or if I got the fish from Dan's Fish, or if I got them from Aquatic Arts, I'll put on there where I got them from. Just give a little bit of provenance. Like, this is where they came from. I don't know. I don't think you can really hurt yourself by giving too much information. So especially the locations and stuff with the Achilles and all that. I mean, aquarium strain gardener eye is one thing, but if you've got a location, it's going to go for a couple dollars more.
Right. No, that's a good note. Do you have a feeling on like Latin name, common names when you're the auctioneer? Do you always try
So
and say both?
as and it's kind of funny because what about whatever Lonnie, whatever Lonnie, but Lonnie was one that when I first started going to auctions and I had a bag, he picked him up off the bag and he brought him over and handed me the bag and he goes, put the Latin name on there. I was like, why? He said, because it's important. Okay. So I did it. And now when I go into a stores and I see something that says uh, twig catfish, I'm not buying it. I don't
Mm,
want that because I don't know what the species is. I need to
mm,
know the species. Like,
okay.
because I may already have some at home and I need to match that group. Like, if there's not a species name, I'm going to assume there could be mixed ones in there. Who's to say that whole batch is all of one thing?
Okay.
So I think the Latin names are really important. You might not need to know how to pronounce them or you spell them properly, but you need to provide them, and it
How,
needs to stay with.
how about with stuff that's actually rare? How should people go about presenting their rare fish in your opinion? Like, what have you seen that doesn't work and does work for that?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So there's this fish store that just opened up right down the street from. It's not a fish store; it's a pet store from where ACM meets, and they got like 20 or 30 fish tanks. So I've kind of been hitting them up. Hey, you want to buy this? You want this? You interested in this? And I'll say, you want some nannochromis, transvestitus, and I got beta mahachiensis and blah blah blah. And then I show him a picture, and he's like, "Oh, a crebensis. Why didn't you just tell me it's a crebensis?" I'm like, "Because you own a pet store, so I thought it mattered to you." But he's not a fish guy, so it doesn't really matter. He's a pet guy, not a fish guy. So I mean, I think it really does only matter to the diehards, but I don't know. It's important.
So for rare, put the picture basically for the uncommon stuff. Like, don't just rely on the name of it. I guess.
Oh yeah, pictures are big too because you're selling, but you're more than likely you're selling babies. So show them a picture of what a mature parents look like,
Okay.
but a reasonable freaking picture.
Do you think like does putting the rare all caps like in the title, does that you think that actually moves the needle?
I don't know what that does, but I know if you put pair, it does.
Hmm. Okay. Pair.
If
That's good one.
you put two crebensis in a bag, or you put pair of crebensis on the bag, and the ones that says pair is going to sell for way more. If you say trio as a pair of the group, like if you can guarantee that there's males and females, and you plant that seed in their head that hey, I can breed these and I can make more, and then I can bring them back and sell them. I think that makes a big difference. If you
Okay.
just say, I got five, and I do it all the time. I'll say 5-pack. I'll 4-pack. Like I do it all the time. But
Okay.
if you can say this is a pair trio, like or 3 males, 3 females, whatever it is, I think you can get more money for them.
Okay. How
But you need
about
to be sure selling.
you need to be sure, yeah. Okay. How about what are the attributes that like maybe it's like so common you wouldn't think of mentioning, but you should put in the description because it'll sell for more. Like for example, if something eats duckweed, that's like always a thing. Once the auctioneer says it, everyone you see people's faces be like, "Oh, it eats duckweed." Oh. Are there any other things like that where like you kind of think it's obvious, but people just don't know, so you should put it in there?
Thing for it's big for plants. Medium light, no CO2. Like the conditions you were growing it in. I mean, and I guess it's really could be the same for fish. If you wanted to include your parameters for your fish, but um, shit. Now I went blank on it. Where was I going with that?
No, you're good. Just including
Um,
different parameters for fish and plants.
yeah, if you're no, there was something else I was going to say before the plant thing, and I forget what it was.
No, you're good. Maybe what
Damn.
safe for community, what it eats, I guess.
So,
I don't
that's
know.
what it was. If it's a plant eater, so like some of the crayfish, the bigger crayfish, like they will tear your plants up. I think you should include that information because a lot of people may not know that crayfish eat plants, and a lot of people really like their plants. So
Yeah.
you put a crayfish in there and it destroys your plants, or you put silver dollars or anything like that. I mean,
Hey, I'm
you
learning
know,
that crayfish lesson.
dude, those electric blue crayfish, I have probably fed them a 5-gallon bucket full of plants over the last couple months. I mean, every
Yeah.
little extra plant, I just throw it in there, and in 3 days it's gone.
I need to put my pink ones in a bigger tank because they're all growing up and stuff, and they're starting to fucking tear each other's claws off. And I was trying to like, you know, put more hardscape and stuff. I was trying to put more plants in there. And I was like, all the plants I put in there disappeared. Like even the duckweed is gone like in a week. Like I put a
Yeah,
whole bucket of duckweed and mod of stem plants, and it just vanishes. They turn it to
everything.
dust.
They've eaten. They'll eat moss. They'll eat some tang. They'll eat rickia.
You
Like
know, hair
they all
algae.
climbed on top of pads of rickia and just ate through the rickia. I mean, they eat anything. So I mean, I think that's definitely important information that you should probably include. You know.
Yeah, I've learned. That's also another hard thing though. Sometimes when you're just got something, you bred it, like the crayfish. I just got them. I haven't had them very long, so like even when I take some to the auction, I don't really know that much about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like realistically, so sometimes people ask me questions. I'm like, I'll be honest, I'm new to crayfish. I know Ross was
Yeah.
keeping them with some big cichlids and stuff. I don't know what you can keep them with realistically. Like I have no idea. You know?
I don't think the those electric blues I have. I don't think they're as vicious like fish eaters as like I had originally thought they were. I think they're more vegetarians than they are. Like I think
Yeah.
they'll eat dead fish, but I've got fish in there with them, and they don't like. I had guppies in there with them, and they didn't even bother the
Yeah.
guppies.
I think
So
I think they might be the same. Are they the same species as? No, mine's
no,
No, they're different. I don't
no,
know how.
you're
It's Clark guy, I think.
no.
So
They probably is yours is Procambrus,
yeah,
not Chirax.
it's yeah,
So I think
Procambrus Clark guy.
they probably are the same. I don't actually know what species they are. I got them from that dude at your swap
Okay,
like a couple months ago. He had a couple of them
okay.
there.
I know there's a couple different crayfish that are blue. I think. I'm not sure if I'm wrong about that, but because I know there's a pink version of the Clark guy. I think there's a white version of them too. Flash says the pink are shrimp safe so far. I think. Yeah, they're not that, if it can avoid them, it's probably fine. I haven't tested it a ton. I'm slowly starting to put some into a 40-gallon with some like cribs that I have too many of. So we'll see.
Yeah,
But
I wouldn't put them in with something super particular that you're trying. I wouldn't put them in with your Paragalaris or something like that. But
yeah,
yeah, I think something that you got a plenty of. I think you'd be all right. I don't think they're really going after them.
no, they seem to love plants the most by far,
Yeah,
which is good. I think that's something that's underrated. Everyone talks about having a big fish that eats a small, sick fish or just extra fish you don't want. There's not too many people talk about, besides silver dollars, options for something that just eats everything, all the plants just gone, you know?
yeah, yeah. They really do. They even took a Java fern, stripped it down to the bare roots.
It's the lawnmower.
Even cichlids don't eat that stuff. They did.
Shit. Okay. I don't want to keep you too long. It's getting later on. It's a weekday. But anyone have any final questions for Big Steve here? He's given us 2 hours of his time. Thank you so much for coming on, Steve. I feel like you've been
Yeah,
dropping
thanks for having.
a lot of gems left and right.
Yeah,
I
no,
see. What do you say?
I said no. This was cool. Yeah, show you something.
Oh shit! What are we gonna show him? Oh, we got some gloves. Wait, he's gonna use the gloves to do something. Oh, okay. Now I'm scared. Why'd he pick gloves to go into the drawer? Ah! What the hell? You just had a snake just right there.
See, I got 6 of them right there.
What? I didn't even know you had 6 snakes. What in the world? What kind of snake is that?
It's a ball python.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I usually don't use the gloves, but when I'm pulling them out,
Oh my god,
they don't.
it's going crazy. Oh my god, I mean that's cool. It's also just insane how you just pulled it out so fast out of nowhere. Wow. Wow. George Ciclidia said pretty ball python. Yeah, that's pretty nice. George Ciclidia said maybe you can get your bladderwort under control. It's hilarious. I'm working on it. Oh, you got another one. Oh, oh, that one's bright. Oh my gosh. It's like, it's so white. Is it just the lighting or is it really that white?
It's white, solid white.
Oh my goodness. So is that also a python?
Yeah, ball python.
Oh my gosh. So do you try and breed snakes at all, or is this just you just like snakes?
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the
Okay.
goal. This is a female. She's getting real close to breeding size. She needs to get a couple more grams, but she's getting close. That other female that I just had, she's ready, but I just got her, so
Oh
it
my
won't be this
gosh.
season. Not this season's already passed. So next breeding season, hopefully I should have some eggs. We did all right with the gecko eggs this year. I got like 6 gecko eggs, and
This guy just breeded more and more stuff out of nowhere, man. That's pretty cool.
so yeah, I just
You
got
got,
that moved up here. It was downstairs, and I just got it moved up here, so I was kind of happy to get it put in there.
yeah, he does it all. No, thank you for showing us. Flashhead Lewistic, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, blue-eyed autistic.
All right. Well, let me let you get out of here. But any
Yep.
final words? Anything you got to say? Anything events coming up you're gonna be at?
I definitely plan on going to that MAH with
Okay.
that Tanners Club on the 30th, I think.
Nice.
Are you going to that?
Yeah. Oh, I meant to tell you we're still trying to figure out how we're gonna go about it. But we got 2 tables, and we want members to bring stuff to sell on the tables. So
Yeah.
yeah. So you should bring some stuff, put on the table.
Yeah,
It's
that's going to be like the next local event. But I'm pretty much 99% sure I'm going to the bash at this point.
okay. Nice Kentucky
I got
Bash.
yeah, I got the tickets. I got the time off. I think I got the house sitting worked out, I think. So now
Hmm.
it's just money, and I think we'll be all right. I don't want to say 100%, but I'm pretty sure we're going.
That's exciting. Well, I'm excited to hear how it goes. I'm not gonna be able to make it, but I know I'll be able to pester you to tell me.
I'm kind of with the libraries, there might be some really cool libraries. I think there
Yeah.
could be there's a lot to be some really cool stuff. So
No, I want to see the fish because I was talking to Featherfins about how Aquashella Texas went, but he don't care about all these damn. He's like, I don't care what fish. I don't know. I don't care about this fish. I was hanging out here. I was saying, oh, there's the catfish. I know you're gonna see every cool fish and be able to tell me what was there, and you're
yeah,
probably gonna
I think
bring back some stuff.
yeah, I think there's going to be some cool stuff. So yeah,
Yeah,
and it's going to be fun to just go away. It's like 8 hours. It's not terrible. It's not a terrible drive. So
yeah.
yeah, I think that's probably going to be my big trip this year. And then I guess in the spring we'll see what Scotty does with the NEC thing.
Yeah, where is that gonna be? Is it known?
I think he said Scranton, Pennsylvania.
All right. Oh,
Like
be interesting.
more, couple hours,
We'll
couple
see if
hours north.
I have any fish. I definitely, yeah, I'm gonna need some help filling our table for the 30th, but I think I have some stuff for that, and I'm
I can
still
definitely bring some stuff for sure.
okay. That would be great.
So
I'm pretty sure
yeah.
yeah, I'll let you know about that. But it's supposed to just be, hey, you remember? Look, we got a table for you to sell stuff at this event. Bring some cool freshwater shit.
Between fish and plants, I'll talk to you, but I can say probably 10 bags.
All right, awesome. Well, hey man, I appreciate you coming on. Let's go, Big Steve. Let's
All right,
get.
man.
I'm excited to see what you do. So take it easy.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
Anytime. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Big Steve. Felt like it was a good conversation. I feel like I wasn't, I think Big Steve did a good job. I think I managed not to be too annoying. So I felt like a fun conversation. It's always easy to talk to Big Steve. He's a nice guy. And even better than that, he got all the answers, man. I was kind of like, man, I'm asking a lot of questions. I feel bad, but he was really good at coming up with oh shit, my Taeniacara right there. Just adjust the camera a little bit. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. Mick said, I like all of you, just hate the phenomenon of using glowfish as a hobby fish. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Mick. We're not even talking about the glowfish now. And you can't forget. George Declaria said he's doing it all. Fun stream. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed. Maybe I'll feed I don't know. I'm a little bit tired. Stream times. I meant to do trivia by now. I just haven't had the chance. Stream times are going to be very interesting over the next month. I'm starting a new job Thursday. So I don't know. We're going to see how that goes and how that affects my streaming schedule and energy. I have a suspicion that I'll probably end up streaming more. I'm not gonna lie. I just know how I work. Whenever I'm like busy, I just like to make myself busier. I don't know what it is. So there is a world where if I go and I'm working all day and then I come back from working all day, I like actually feel like doing more streaming. I don't know. It's possible. We'll have to see. I got some fruit fly cultures to feed and split, but shit. First clear, congrats. Thanks. Is he better escaper than Bomba, right? We'll have to see. Big Steve said, I'll name my first fish Mickum. Yeah, I like that. I like the pettiness. That's what's up. Wait, let me get some frozen food, actually. I got this new frozen food. It's frozen krill, and I haven't tried it before. I've had a little bit of it the day that I got it, but like it had defrosted a bit on the way there. So like, you know, when like the frozen food squares defrost a bit, it's kind of hard to pop it out of the tray right. So I haven't really gotten the full experience. I think it's bigger than I expected though. So far I like the frozen Daphne and Cyclops the most out of all the frozen foods I've tried. They just seem to be a size that works for a lot of different things. There's like this krill. It's probably good for my bigger fish, but we're gonna see. The absolute worst frozen food is for me the tuba effects. It just makes a mess. Nothing likes it. It's completely worthless. That's just my opinion. That's my lived experience. But let's see. Let's see if the Taeniacara eat the frozen krill. That'll be our on-stream test here real quick. Whew. Man, I'm slowly. Maybe I'll be in more streaming shape. I'm really starting to get into exercising more, like I used to again. So hopefully, I'll be in a better fish keeping shape, like when I was doing the bucket life. But I've been walking like 3 miles every single day that I can, and that even just that has been helping me kind of get back into things. I guess I'm getting older, caring for future generations and shit. Oh my gosh, Mick. Oh my gosh. All right. So, see, the frozen krill is kind of like, it's kind of huge. And it's kind of gross looking too. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of looks like it looks like shit. Like shit. But let's see if the Taeniacara are up for it. If they like it. If it tickles their fancy. We're gonna find out. The frozen krill's been deployed and the female is going in, inspecting. Male also looks curious, but kind of waiting for the strike here. It's not, I mean, sometimes they can be a little investigative, but it's not like the strongest response I've ever seen. Oh my god, bro, are they not gonna eat it? Please. I think they ate some of the shrimp that was in there. So I might have to have some snails. Clean that up if you guys don't. Holy. I'm gonna put it in some tanks off camera while I wait. See if they eat this. Alright, how you guys feeling? You feeling in the chat? It's kind of like the krill's not going into the turkey baster as well as I prefer. I don't think I'll be getting this frozen food again. I'm gonna try on some stir-bys. Alright, have they eaten any yet? This is not looking promising, is it? I don't know what's more disappointing, this or me trying to feed peanut beetle larvae. I had a very nice man gave me the tank, donated the tanks to the club, and then gave me a peanut beetle larva culture. And I have mixed feelings on the peanut butter. On one hand, it's kind of terrible in every way, because you gotta like pick all the babies out and stuff. On the other hand, you know, sometimes it's fun just picking out some of the larvae, but it's just, it takes so long. I usually get an amount, I can only feed it to like maybe a tank of like a couple specific fish, like if it's like a pair. But then the other thing is, they don't really wiggle around the best when it comes to just they kind of float on the water for a bit, and then if they do sink, they don't move around the most. I don't know. It's kind of trash. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, these guys do not seem to like the krill. The Corys off screen are liking it though. So, I mean, let me. Yeah, I'm not gonna see it. They might eat it eventually, but I'm considering this a failure. I have no investment in if they like it or not, so it's over. Okay, so I got some little tetras and white cloud mountain minnows in here, and it's hard to see through the glass because there are so many freshwater limpets. So I'm gonna just make this real quick. But I got a bunch of shrimp in this tank, so. All right. Well, these things are actually trying to eat it at least. So that's a good improvement. Now you can't see the shrimp that are already collecting on it because most of them are culls, but I see the shrimp at least are responding. One or two tetras picking around. Oh wait, okay, I tried to get it midair. I think the size is just not great, but they're also not that interested in it. Okay. I think I'll try feeding it to the newts. Newts probably like it. The guppies over here are kind of eating it. Yeah, frozen krill. Don't do it. That's my recommendation. I mean, some stuff seems to kind of be eating it, but not with the level of enthusiasm I want from a frozen food. You know what I'm saying? Try feeding it to some of my bigger fish. Okay. I probably should just, you know, I don't have too much to talk about. So I probably should just get off while I'm ahead, while the stream was good. I use my peanut butter Galavaris to feed spiderlings. They're too much work for fish. Yeah. I'm debating if I want to keep them or not. There's got to be a way to set it up where it's more efficient to harvest the larvae, so that's something I'm kind of playing around with. But it doesn't seem kind of like a lot of work. Yeah, a little bit, real quick, I guess, since I'm here. A little bit of local club news. If you're in the area and you want to try and help out a club, the Cichlid Club of York sent out an email to members recently. Long story short, their nonprofit status lapsed, and I guess it's going to be costly to fix. Then 3 members, for personal reasons, stepped down from the board. Seems like there's maybe like 2 or 3 people on the board. Essentially, they need board members, and things seem drastic. Remember when Father Fish said in a chat, like one of the clubs wearing the Keystone Clash had like the entire board resign? Well, I guess that was true. So, hey, if you're in the area, Cyclic Club of York, they need member board volunteers badly, or else they might just dissolve. So, may as well mention that for people local if you didn't know, or you might be interested in helping out. There you go. The opportunity's out there. Pre-crack the peanuts, maybe, Torciclidia said. I don't know. My thought is like, there's got to be some way I can set up whatever where like the babies can get in, but the adults can't, and then I can just do that. Because I tested putting some different fish food in there, and they definitely collected on the fish food pretty well. So to me, that kind of seemed like, okay, I can get them to go to fish food. They like that. They'll move towards it. So then how do I get it so it kind of is a filtering, self-filtering thing here? What's up, Mountain Greenery, Big Cat 420? How's it going? We had our guest on, and he's already come and gone, but we're kind of chilling out for a second here. Hope you guys are doing well. I was testing out some frozen krill. Not good responses. Not good feeding responses so far. The Taeniacara did not seem very interested at all. So that's kind of disappointing. I mean, I've never tried that frozen food before. So I'm gonna probably feed the Taeniacara some isopods. I'm not gonna lie. That's probably what I'm about to do. Cause I'm still, they're one of the fish I'm focusing on breeding. So those are the ones that they get the live food priority. You know what I'm saying? I was out for the day. I didn't reset my grindle worm food, so I gotta put more in there so the worms will collect. Otherwise, I just do that. Let's see. Hold up. Those Candidi are awesome. Yeah. They're looking good. I'm hoping this next time around they will lay eggs and they'll hatch. Because like I said, I've gotten eggs twice. They've continued to be in good shape. They look like they're down to do something. I'm just kind of waiting. I recently there used to be a ton of moss in here that I took out because there's just so much bladderwort. There's still some, but I'm trying to kind of reset this a little bit. So this is the female here. And see, she's still looking in very great shape. That stripe is very wide right now. Color's looking great. So I feel pretty optimistic. They've been hanging around the caves a bit more. So I'm hoping sometime soon. See, look at them. Look at them hanging out that cave back there. It's crazy. The body to finish ratio on the males is pretty wild. Not gonna lie. So, meanwhile, I guess I'll show you the krill, the frozen krill reception from the stir-by. Let's see here. Dun, 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 dun. Gotta move my camera around. Sorry. I need to count my Ellisoma. I have 2 tanks that have fry of Ellisoma right now, and I need to see how many I have. Just thinking out loud. All right. So, stir-by, they actually are eating. They actually are eating some of the frozen krill. In fact, I'm probably just gonna put the rest of it in there because they are making progress on it, and I don't really feel like doing trial and error, figuring out who the hell's gonna eat this. So I hate that. I don't like testing foods where no one likes it. You know what I mean? I don't like going tank to tank to tank, 20 tanks, however it is, to be like, okay, are you gonna eat this? Are you gonna eat that? Are you gonna eat this? Ooh, I can also show you the nannochromis fry. They're out and about and looking good. Let me toss some food in there. These guys work on the krill. You tell me if they're actually eating it. I saw them eating it. I feel like it's definitely not the most popular food ever. Like they're gonna eat it, but oh, okay. I just saw a few get sucked up in the back. It's not like how they react to like worms though. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's gonna be gone. That's the one nice thing about Corys is they can eat some food. There's some fish, like apistos and stuff, you want to be careful with feeding them too much. And let me make myself smaller because right now I'm kind of treating this, just warning, I'm kind of treating it like I'm not even streaming. I'm just going to be showing the fish. So I'll make myself small. But yeah, you know, some fish you don't want to overfeed, or that's like a kind of more of a concern. I feel like with Corys, especially when you're trying to breed them, you can feed them quite a lot. So I have my 5 main adults, but there's at least 6 other decent sized Corys. We read that paper about the behavior of the different Cory ages. It's actually kind of interesting because I've had some fry in this tank that just hatched in there and have been making it. And in that paper we read, it talked about how the similar sized Corys hung out together. It's been kind of interesting to see, like, even though they're a decent size, they still mostly hang out with the similar aged Corys. So I originally got all these Corys from Petco. That one that's coming up in the middle here, that's one of the ones that grew up in the tank. This one on the left. And still, they're just now at that size. Now it's the only one all the way on the left. Just now at that size that they're starting to come out and hang out with the adults a little bit. Mixed head, what are the L Pleco again? That's a L333. I got from Becca Goldring. I got like four babies in there. 4 babies of those in there. No, the stir-bys have been looking good. They haven't laid eggs in a bit, but I haven't been doing a bunch of water changes. I just haven't been ready. So I've kind of been letting them chill. I haven't been feeding them super heavy worms and stuff like that. You want to see some other Corys, though, that I do want to start working on, and they're taking a lot longer, but they're starting to get to the krill. I always forget what Corys these are for some reason. I don't know why, bro. But I know someone will be able to remind me. But these guys, they've been looking very nice these days. Well, so one of the things as I'm reorganizing is I want to get some 20 longs set up for some Corys. When I first got these, I wasn't sure if I had any males. But now I'm pretty sure I do have some males. And they do seem to like the krill. So, look at this shrimp, bro. This is one of my coal shrimp tanks I just put ugly shrimp into. They've been doing too well, man. This is why I say, people say keep shrimp Achilles. I've kept a lot of shrimp Achilles. Like, the shrimp population here is not suffering. Let me tell you. They do not eat enough. Well, that's why I like the Aphyosemians, so I've had that experience with a lot of the smaller Aphyosemians that aren't Georgiae, because my Georgia at least were quite mean. I feel like for a killifish. I got to the water change for the Corys tonight, doing the GH juicing method again. Very nice. Yeah, I feel like these guys are starting to get to the point where I should start thinking about my strategies, actually trying to get them to spawn if I do have males and females. But I'm just so impressed by the finnage on some of them. The dorsal is just kind of got this crazy extension going on. I don't know. I don't know if I like the orange lasers or these the most. I think if I could get them to spawn and I had a school of them, it'd be pretty competitive. I'm not gonna lie. I do like these guys. I do like these guys quite a bit. I do. Okay. Let me show you guys the nannochromis. Though we just talked to Big Steve about the nannochromis as parents, and I do think they're significantly better than a lot of dwarf cichlids I've been working with fry recently. And I use the word working with loosely, like, come on. I'm not really doing that much. But the dwarf cichlids I've had fry recently, the nannochromis are the most successful by far. It's not even close. Apistos, I think apistos are fucking terrible parents. I'm not gonna lie. Like, compared to cribs, compared to rainbow cichlids, compared to the dwarf pikes, I can only compare it to things that I've done. So far, I rate apistos as the worst parents out of all the dwarf cichlids that I have had fry with. They kind of leave the they're just not that, they're not as active. These guys, the parents are on top of the fry, one of them constantly. They also work together, both parents, a lot more. The apistos, usually, it seems like just one of them is mainly in charge. Mixed out, are the shrimps reproducing successfully in there? Yeah, there's tons of shrimp in there. I generally always have shrimp do well with the smaller Aphyosemians. There's a bunch of moss and stuff. But yeah, look at this. I mean, the female, she's just like, she's really right on top of the fry. Oh shit, sorry, my settings are like all jacked up. Give me a second. There we go. So the male's like sitting in the cave for some reason. I don't even know why he's sitting in the cave, but the amount of fry is also significantly more than a lot of the dwarf cichlids that I've done so far. Now, it did take them a few tries, I will say that, because we've even on stream seen them with wigglers before. But if you remember what they looked like the last time we checked them out on stream, you can see that the amount of babies has not really changed that much that I can notice. They got a lot of babies still, so I'm pretty hyped, and I feel like they're growing at a great rate. I feel like it wasn't that long ago where I had to like try and shine the flashlight so you guys could see. Now you can very clearly see where the babies are at. So I think I'm gonna feed some decapsulated brine shrimp eggs. So I'm still trying to feed them like a couple times a day. The tanks with fry like this, I definitely try and, my goal would be 3 times a day. Like, I try and make my minimum twice a day for these tanks specifically. Just because it got all the fry there. One thing that's different, oh, did I just scare them all away? One thing that's different, now the fry are a little bit bigger, is like she will let them go up a bit more. Now, I don't know why is the male in the cave. That's so funny. He's just like chilling. One thing that the nannochromis transvestitus did this too, but they dug a cave underneath the cave. So like where the male is, that's where they laid the eggs. But you see how the fry are coming out from underneath the cave. I think when they turn to wigglers, they move them down there, but it seems like they still camp out down there to some degree. So I scared them. Let's see if they come out and start eating things. Mick said they're growing. Yep. Mick said there are different strategies work in different natural biotypes. Survival of the fittest. Yes. Well, hey, being a good parent seems to be a good strategy. I still have the Panduro on this side of the tank. They're doing good. They did lay eggs when I first got them in. So those didn't end up producing anything, but I have a feeling that they will try again in the near future. They seem to be a strong pair. They hang out together. The jostling from the nannochromis doesn't seem to really bother them that much. They seem to be staying. Okay. The fire coming out a little bit here. Hold up. I'm not gonna lie, the Pirellius they're really nice looking. They got a very unique look to them. I think I like them more than the transvestitus, and that's not just because my transvestitus have not given me any fry. It's just the zebra. It's just the striping, and the caudal, and the outline, and the dorsal, and the oil slick rainbow. It's just like very unique combo of colors going on. Nannochromis and cribs are famous for beating Epistos with mixed. The factory had a strong Episto made them surviving at all IMO. I'm trying to make sure I understand what you're saying. I do think that it made them a much better pair. I will say that. I had no fry. I've had these Pirellius for like a year now. Actually, I'm not going to lie. I've had them for a while. They weren't successful. Within a couple, like 1 or 2 weeks of having the Epistos in with them, they produced like 1 billion fry. So I don't know. Every now and then, like what just happened, she'll go over and like dash at one of the Epistos, but they just kind of like keep going about their business. Oh, now that's a good shot. Look at that. So they're really collecting right where all the decap brine shrimp eggs are coming down at. That's so cool. Look at them go. Let's see, who can count? Someone count. how many babies you think that there are? And do you think that they're gonna lose any? Because my naive mind feels like they've made it to this size. I'm probably gonna get around this number ultimately. This is a good size to me. I'm gonna try and count. Oh my god, bro. I was just counting what was on the cave and I didn't even notice how many were on the sand. Hold up. I just like totally, I was so focused on the contrast. They contrast so much better on the cave that I missed that on the sand there's also a big group. Nannochromis and cribs are way easier to get common foods than our agro AF. I just really do okay with them. Yeah, well, I definitely wouldn't put them in anything smaller than the 28-gallon low boy I got them in. Yinzer's Quack says, glad to see someone live streaming about fish. What's up, Yinzer? How's it going? Yo, come on, people be live streaming about fish. But yeah, we jokingly call ourselves the hardest working fish live stream. We do try and get up here yapping about fish quite often. I had a good friend on a little bit ago we were talking to, but that ended, so now I'm just kind of like feeding fish, closing out the stream. I got some nannochromis Pirellius here with their fry. Put in some decapsulated brine shrimp eggs. I'm trying to see how many. I actually haven't tried to count how many fry that there are. Let me sit here and try and estimate. Let's see. So on the cave, let me zoom in a bit, because like on the cave alone, that's where I'm gonna start. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe like 10. Oh, now more going onto the cave. Okay, hold up. There could be like 15 on top of the cave. I'm not gonna lie. Because right at the front, I'm counting 1. Oh, now they move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right. Let's say around 15 to 18 seem to be hanging around the cave. And then down below on the sand, I mean, obviously that's another 15, 18. So let's say there's 30 to 45 fry hanging around here. That's my unscientific estimate with my limited counting ability. And I'll say that it's kind of seemed to be the same amount for a while now, so I don't know, man. I think a lot of these guys are going to make it. Diana said snap a couple pictures, count there. Well, that would be the smart thing to do. You know, I'm trying to do it live, man. I'm trying to get my skills up. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Let's see. What else do I want to feed? Kind of hitting all the two times a day. I fed a little bit before the stream. The newts and stuff are doing good. Let's see. I've been trying to work on this tank a bit to make it look a bit less terrible. And we're making some progress. My end goal is basically, you know, I got a bunch of trimming and stuff to continue to do, but my end goal is basically have pink plant on left, green plant on right. That's like the middle. And then maybe I'll make some stuff on the sides more interesting. Nick said, how the Hongsloi doing? I still have some. I have like 10 fry of them that are doing well, but I lost my pair in my 5-gallon that crashed, unfortunately. Diana Roach said, opinions about axolotl, someone near me selling juveniles. So my opinions on axolotls have changed a little bit since I'm now keeping a newt that I gotta keep a little bit cooler and probably not, I don't think as cool as the axolotl, but the thing with the axolotls, I feel like they're pretty big. I feel like there's more stuff to worry about them eating. So, yeah, I guess I don't know the most about them, but I don't know. It seems you got to dedicate a lot of space to them. And then you got to make that, yeah, Mick, it was pretty rough. You got to make that a cooler tank. So I don't know if people put stuff with axolotls regularly, but even if you did, you're kind of a little bit limited by the temperature. Yeah. You got to worry about them choking on a wider range of things. But I mean, if you like them, if you think they're really cute, I don't think they're as difficult as they sound. Like, that's what people say. It's like, oh, no, you can do it. But yeah, I mean, it feels like there's a lot of considerations. Anyone that has an opinion on axolotls, let me know. I'm not the most informed on that. Oh, man. The guppy male courting the newt. Oh, sorry. I saw some more guppy babies in there, because my one male, his tail hasn't really recovered from. There's a killifish in there biting him up. Although I kind of feel like maybe the other male's also been a problem. At one point, I separated the males. I don't know what it is. His tail might just be too long, honestly. Because the other male that's in there, his tail's not that long yet. I don't have the best water for guppies either. So I've done a little bit to harden the water in there. So I'm hoping that does something. But I have been getting some fry, which would be nice if I could get a bunch. I'm still waiting to be like everyone says, guppies, you add water and then you have more than you know what to do with. Kind of like, I'm waiting to have that experience. I haven't had that experience yet in this hobby where I just like, oh no, I have too many guppies. What do I do? I'm waiting. I'm waiting excitedly. Yo. The barbs, I put some decapsulated brine shrimp eggs in here, and the barbs are like really going crazy for it. I'm not gonna lie. I am starting to like this tank again. There was a time where I didn't know how I felt about it. And I was like, maybe I'll switch things up. I'll get the barbs out of here. I still think I will move the barbs out of here, but I don't know. They're just always doing something, always moving around. They're back there eating everything. Plants looking awesome. Thank you, Mick. Thank you. They're doing all right in there. I wish my Elosoma tank lights were on so I could show you guys that. The Galaris have been doing well. I can kind of show you they're up high, which was kind of a mistake, but I didn't really have a choice. But they're up high. Yeah, there they are. And I really am scrambling to try and clear they're in that tank. I don't know why, bro, it looks so cloudy. Let me turn this down. So, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to raise the camera all the way up. Let's see if we can get it so you can actually see these damn things. Because I want to feed them some fruit flies. I got too many fruit flies. But I need to get them into a bigger tank. I could keep them in a tin and have it be one of those people that... I've seen that video where people have a bunch of Galaris, they're growing out in the tin and, you know, they just got to be on top of the water and stuff. But, like, I'd really like to be able to see them a bit better. I'd like to be able to, you know, have them grow a bit faster. So I'm trying to clear out a bigger tank that I can put them in. Because also, you know, the males are starting to spar with each other and stuff more. So there's definitely a lot of motivation for me to get these killifish into a bigger tank. Don't climb and fall. I will not. I won't climb and fall. I promise. All right. So, first step, camera is now high enough. Second step is now I have to get the light so that maybe you can actually see the fish. And then I have to get some fruit flies on there around the camera and not release fruit flies everywhere. So let's see how I can pull this off here. How do you filter out your tanks so I don't see hardly any water movement? I got sponge filters in my tanks, but there's also a lot of floating plants in a lot of them right now. Although I have de-duck weeded a lot. I have removed quite a bit of duckweed in a couple tanks, so I do have water movement in my tanks. All the ones that are on stream right now, though, are definitely some of my less water movement-y ones, gotta say. Okay, so let's see. Oh, my camera is falling. I did not extend the tripod leg all the way. Well, that would probably be helpful. Okay, so you can see the Galaris are starting to collect very low air pressure going into them. I have a lot of tanks. I probably could use more, but no, it's more just the floating plants and stuff. Floating plants, and a lot of them have like a bunch of moss in the back. So the front part you're seeing is like There's a lot in the way. Okay, so you can see there's a good amount of them in there. I'm putting in some fruit flies real quick before they start going crazy. I don't want any of them to jump or something. Oh, that would just be the worst. Alright. Fruit flies are in. Yeah, that is on my list though. I don't have a proper air loop. Okay, so now you can see the galar is collecting. And now I gotta move the light so you can actually potentially see what they actually look like. So, still not the best representation, but for those who know, you know. I actually haven't, I'm not gonna lie. Holy fuck. This is awesome. Bro. Oh my gosh, I'm doing it. Let's go. Yo, I've been wanting to have a tank full of these for so long. You guys have heard me talking about it. Oh my god, it's actually happening. I gotta keep collecting some eggs. Look at that. That is something. I haven't seen them on camera like this before, so it's just a little bit different. Yeah, I think I got some males and females in there. It feels like it's male heavy, but it's kind of hard to tell at this point which ones are sneaker males and not. Nick said 25 to 30. I definitely think at least 30. Because there's some that are down below. This is fun little pan checks. What Mick put in the chat suggests you funge. It's a blue galaris from the funge locations, kind of killifish. That gets a little bit bigger. Man, that does make me happy. They're looking good. Damn, they love those fruit flies. You can see some dominant males for sure. Like that one at the top has got some pretty crazy colors. Steve said, I can't wait to see him in an auction. They'll definitely be at the... If I can set some pairs out for the 30th, I might bring a pair or two there in service of hyping up the club. I'll definitely bring some to the ASCM auction. The next one we have. I'll probably have some ready to go for that. But it's funny, I have them, I see them, but now I can see them on screen. I see them on stream. I think if you're familiar with the fish, you can definitely tell they're doing all right. It's just different. I feel excited. I'm like, oh shit. So here's a weird one, right? Well, weird one for me. This is, I don't think I've even really shown these on stream. But I've had them for a while at this point. Sorry, the front of the glass. So I keep this tank a little bit darker because I'm doing something specific. So let me get this right, what the name of this rainbow fish is. There's a couple things going on here. Steve said, I don't need the first pair. I mean, Steve, you gave me them for free. You can have a pair whenever you're ready. You can have a pair whenever you're ready, Steve. Seriously. Okay, what was I doing? Right, rainbow fish. So this is Taeniacara rubrivitate, the red laser. So, a couple things on where I'm at with these guys. I had them in the 20 with the gold ocellatus for a while, so I wasn't really trying to breed them. And then the gold ocellatus started breeding, and I had to get everything out of there. So you said, I'll let you know I still need to make room for the Kali Tao. Oh my gosh. I need you to make those go, Steve. So here's the thing. I'm not really that familiar with rainbow fish. To me, these rainbows have always kind of looked. I couldn't tell if their bellies were pinched. I couldn't tell it was just the normal rainbow fish thing. And I've always been trying to feed them well. So at this point, I've done Prezi Pro, done all that. So I think it's just a normal rainbow fish thing. But that was kind of weirding me out about them at first because I was like, just you ever have some fish like you're just paranoid there's something off with them, but I've had them for long enough now. I'm like, okay, so they're probably fine. So that was the first thing with them, and so I was just like, I couldn't tell if they were healthy or not. Just unfamiliar with the fish. At least the male. The females will always kind of look like they got rotund bellies. So I never was too. What's up, a couple fish with the emoji spam? So I'm just cleaning the glass a little bit. And one of them I see has got some stringy poop or whatever, but I haven't fed them yet today, so. Okay, so anyways, that was my first thing with them. Then, the eggs, really small. I just haven't had the time to deal with feeding them. I'm sorry, with picking the rainbow fish eggs. And because they kind of looked funky, I was being paranoid. I didn't want to really just put the mop in somewhere. You see where like my mind makes things a lot harder for me. So that's why they kind of been stuck. So I had this 10-gallon. I wanted to actually breed them. I wanted to get some eggs in a mop. I'm going to feed them some fruit fly too. Oh, shit. Whole piece of the media went in there by accident. All right. So, put them in this tin, and kind of interesting thing. So I put them in the 10-gallon, and I put a mop in the back, and it's really dark on purpose back there. But I was originally going to use this tank to breed some egg scatterers. What kind of guppy did I give you the other day? That was a Ginga sulphuris thing. So I put them in here. I was going to do it for an egg scatterer, so I had a container with grid over it that I put moss on and a rock in. But then I put rainbow fish in here, so that wasn't really that useful. And then I took the rock off when I was doing some maintenance, like some vacuuming, and it floated, and I just never really fixed it. It's just this big floating container with moss. And kind of what it's turned into is I have the mop behind it, and I have this big mass. It's kind of hard to tell because the container's black, so you can't see, but that moss is like tied to a big container that's there. And it kind of did something I've been trying to do in other ways, where it creates this floating island where the moss basically touches the surface. And why I wanted to do that is because I kind of, we've been talking about how in some places the fry hang out in the shallow area where the adults can't really get to. So I've been trying to think of like ways to create that, and the easiest way is like some kind of floating thing where it's floating right below the surface. It's definitely something 3D printable. If I was that person, I probably could just print that. I think that's a great way, that's not floating plants, to make a little sanctuary. That's kind of what's happened here. And long story short, I've been taking forever to get to breeding these things. But I've been starting to get a decent amount of fry in here without doing anything. So I'm attributing it to this kind of floating island situation. Because if you look closely, you can see up at the top by the moss, there's some fry hanging out there. And then you may have already seen the larger size fry that are already in there hanging out with the parents. I haven't seen a new one. I haven't seen that guy before. So, yeah. I probably need to hold a mop and pick eggs still. Like, I'm not saying this replaces doing that at all. But at the very least, I now feel like if I wanted to be more active, I could at least take some of these tiny fry at the top and actually put them into another tank or something like that, and I could maximize my numbers that way. Kind of a situation. So there's a short little breeding story. Don't know how many fry I'm gonna end up getting out of it or how successful it will be, but I'm pretty interested that it's even gone that far. I don't know if you have an opinion on my paranoia and how this male looks. I feel like he's looking better these days. I don't know if he ever looked bad. Maybe I'm just not used to how flat rainbow fish are, but I don't know. So that's a cool one. That's one of the reasons I gave Steve my Kalitawa pair, because I'm trying to decrease species. I only have so much space, and this is one I've been wanting to do more than the Kalitawa. Kalitawa's really cool, but this is one that I've been thinking about. So I'm definitely pretty excited about that. Also, yeah, Mick was asking about the shrimp population do with the killifish. It's like, look how many shrimp are in here. Oh my goodness. Mick said floating plants and plants reaching the surface is often a good thing. Yeah. Just with the larger rainbow fish, I haven't had that happen successfully. And this seems to be pretty... I mean, I don't get my hopes up too much, but I don't know. I feel like there's a decent amount of fry that I'm seeing pop up in there. So I'm hoping that could be a thing, you know? Hoping that could be a thing. And then I still have the mop, so I can always pull the mop and pick it too. But if in the between time, I'm still getting some kind of yield out of it, that's pretty ideal. At least I think so. I do think so. All right. What else do I have? Ooh, let me see if I can get some Simeon Hero. Nikim said I'm gonna copy that method. Let me know. Let me know if it works. I mean, I still would love to make a tank where one end of it is like straight up a shallow, like it ramps up into a shallow, so it's physically impossible, you know, for fry to really be caught up over there. You can have I would love to do that still. It's on the list. It's on the list of projects I need to do that require DIY and patience. But in the meantime, floating rafts. I've been trying another method of it in the tank with the Congo tetras, but I don't have a fish in there to take advantage of it yet. All right, put some food in the Simeon Hera tank. Let's see if they pop out where I can see them. Got some new fish to move. But I think things have stabilized for the most part around here, which is nice. So that's why I'm taking an opportunity while things are not all collapsing and I'm decreasing stuff. I'm gonna be doing some more work, so gotta get things as efficient as possible around here. Emphasis on the fish. Efficient. Ha ha ha. All right, let me see. We'll see if we can do an Aphisimeon Hera census. Although I'm very female heavy last time I checked. So it might not be the most colorful. I do like this tank though. So this is it's literally just a 20 long And all that's in here is Aphysemian hair and moss. So if you just kind of, observe over time, see the slight movement, you might be able to get an idea of where they're at. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. Thing is, I guess the rainbows don't want to get tangled into the plants unless when spawning. Also smart having light at the front where the space is free. Yep, that was kind of my thinking. Have a dark area in the back, light at the front where the space is free. I think a little bit sometimes every now and then. So that seems to be working. Let's see where we can see some movement. It's just all the little yellow slivers in the moss, basically. So I see one female there, one in the middle. They're so funny. Same for the hair. I say lower the surface of the plants, reach the surface so adults can't see the fry. Yeah. There's some floating plants up there. With the hair, though, the fry seemed to stay more in the moss and towards the bottom. So I haven't worried about it as much. Eventually they do stop. Like you can see even now here, like the food's at the top. And they just kind of prefer to just eat it when it falls into the moss. They're kind of lazy. I wasn't expecting much when I put it in there. I don't usually see them like come out in droves. They're patient. But it's a very, talking about low water movement. I got a sponge filter in the back left corner. Let me make sure it's still going. Yeah, it is. And it's actually going at a decent amount. But this is like the duckweed up there is like the quote unquote giant duckweed. And that's just the worst, man. It doesn't move. The water be going and it just does not move. So I have made progress on removing all duckweed from a couple tanks. That is not one of those. Here's another, you're not gonna be able to see it very well, but just for your benefit of knowing, I had my trio of Fundamental Plant Checks Gardnerite Gold in this tin up here, and it's got a lot of moss. It's got that mop at the front. It's got the giant duckweed, although in that tank, the giant duckweed, its stems have grown extremely long. That's why I haven't removed it, because of what you were saying before about the fry being near the surface and whatnot. Like the stems are so long and close together, it's actually kind of nice, you know. Honestly, if I wanted to do the best passive breeding tank ever, I just fill a tank with water lettuce because it has the crazy roots. Fill a tank with water lettuce, throw a pair of Achilles in there. They would surely go crazy. But anyways, I was looking in the Gardnerite tank. I've had the trio in there alone for a while, and I'm starting to see some fry popping up in there. So I'm pretty happy about that. I've been down to this trio for a bit, officially at least, and it's a reverse trio, even worse. You know what I mean? But I saw like about 6 or so decent sized fry in there. Nick says oxygen is 20-ish% of air, and the bubbles make it almost impossible for oxygen to dilute into water volume. The oxygen you're having in the tank mainly comes from the surface. Yeah, that's why I really do try and keep. That's why I'm working hard to get red duckweed in most of my tanks, because the lights turn off if you have a bunch of plants already, and then your surface area is moved together with a bunch of closed off with a bunch of floating plants, and the lights turn off. The floating plants, all the other plants now are consuming that oxygen out of the water when the lights are off. Like, I've definitely had some issues. So, trying to learn from my mistakes a little bit there. Yeah. And then my P82s, those are across the room, but I got some fry from them going. So stuff is going all right, you know. At least some things. There's some things going pretty well. Nick said low boys are better than high tanks. Yeah, I'm with you. I need to get a bunch of those. It's like the 10 gallons, but cut in half. I forget what those are. That'll be a cool one to make a rack out of. But honestly, 10 gallon is a good dimension. It's a good size. I want to rebuild everything so it's horizontally oriented though. All right, I should probably get out of here. Yo, we hit the 3-hour mark, so JP can't complain. Holy. Listen, I appreciate you guys coming through. Yo, I enjoyed the auction talk. Was fun. I'm one of those kind of people. I have to talk things out loud. You know what I mean? It takes me like 5 conversations to figure out what I actually think. So I always enjoy it when someone like Steve comes on, talks to me about all these different things, and I can like just kind of test out. You know, okay, let me say it. Let's discuss this. What do I think? Because if you think something in your head just to yourself, it's totally different. Once you actually talk to someone about it, I feel like I always get a new perspective, you know? Nick said, sorry to say it, but our tanks are often a miniature of a swamp, shallow compared to the area it covers. Yeah. Swamp Tank Nation. I mean, I definitely got some swamp tanks. Let's go. Diana says, good stream, informative. Nick says, great stream. Okay, W stream, good stream. Let's go. That's what I like to hear. I'm trying to stay consistent for you guys. I appreciate it. Been holding it down. Replay crew been holding it down. Yo, sometimes it's fun when I'm not streaming because I just see, okay, how much are people going back to old stuff because I'm not streaming? I'll be honest. I've been paying enough attention. Like, there's some VODs. I'm like, more people are watching it because I'm not streaming? But then that means you guys are actually enjoying the streams. Like when I don't stream, some people are actually missing it and going back and watching old ones. So I just want to say, I noticed that, and I really appreciate you guys for it. I definitely don't take for granted that, you know, more than a handful of people will listen to conversations on here for 3 hours at a time. So shout out to you guys, and also, I'm happy to be entertaining. Andy Carson said, thanks for your stream so I could listen to Fishy talk while doing stuff. Good night, anytime. Take it easy. Have a good night. Mix it hardest working fish stream. Hopefully I'll be able to get back here sometime soon. If I do it tomorrow, it'd have to be early, but I'm probably not. So, you know, maybe Thursday night or maybe Friday or Sunday night, because it's Memorial Day type of situation. So those are likely candidates. We'll see what happens. And if you have any stream ideas, let me know. I'll put them in the. And if there's anyone you think should come on stream, let me know. You guys give me ideas from time to time. It takes me a while to get to some of them, but especially if it's like an easy one. The hardest part is scheduling stuff. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people I'd like to talk to, like Glassbox. I'd love to get Glassboxes on here. Glassbox Diaries. And some of the UK people, honestly. There's a couple of them, but I haven't been able to schedule it. So, all right, I'm headed out. Let's keep working, keep trying to be better, keep trying to enjoy life. I'll see you guys soon. And replay crew, shout out to you. Leave a comment if you made it this far. You have any thoughts? Smart person said Glassbox Diaries and Rebecca. Yeah, those are good, two good ones. I'll be honest. I don't know why I feel like I need to read like 30 more papers before I talk to Rebecca. Mick said I must visit old mom. Might not be here for stream tomorrow. We'll see. Okay. I probably won't stream tomorrow because on my first day at my little gig I got for the next month, Thursday. So, all right. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm headed out for real this time. This has been In My Tanks. And I am Frog Girl and Corey. Okay. I got you. I'm out. Woo. Holy.